It's going to be another episode of the podcast. And as usual, we got our usual suspects, Ajit and Prithvi. So, how you guys are doing, man?
We are doing
think
great.
doing just as fine as I possibly can be.
Just as positive as I can. I don't think that should be an answer. You should be positive and be I'm pumped up with it.
Yep, yeah. I'm pumped up. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, without going, as you should know, that today is the agenda that we're going to do the prime Ricky Ponting team versus prime Virat Kohli team. Last episode, we did the prime Graham Smith versus prime Virat Kohli team. So before we get into the main topic, we'll go run through some couple of updates of what's happening in the cricketing world. So today we're going to starting with which we're going to touch upon the recent Test match happened between India versus England in the fourth Test, which India has won comprehensively due to a magical spell from Kuldeep Yadav. Ravichandran Ashwin, this 100th Test match has done very well. James Anderson picking up 700 wicket, being the third bowler in the history of the game to pick up 700 wickets after Muralidharan and Shane Warne. So I will open this discussion to the panel. What do you guys think about the Test match, guys?
Prithvi, go ahead. You go ahead, man.
Sure. I'll just we spoke a bit about this in the last podcast too, but I don't want to say one thing about England. Okay. The thing with England is what I saw was the way in which their performance. It sort of went lower and lower as the series went on. They did so well in the first match, and by the time it got to the last match at Masala, they just their margins of losing kept getting bigger and bigger as they went along. And not just that, probably more than that, even the style, the manner in which they're losing it kept getting worse. And I think, see, whenever whenever a team goes to play in foreign conditions, they may not be able to win or to win all the time. It's rare that a foreign team wins a full like series, but there's so much more that the visiting team can do. Maybe they can improve their technique. Maybe they can take the losses and improve on them. Maybe they can improve individual players' form and everything. In that regard, I think this in this series, England have they got pretty much nothing from this series, according to me, apart from Shoaib the Bashir. Um, Apart from him, as maybe you can even mention the Tom Hartley, but I think if beyond these two, they were so obsessed with the so-called baseball technique, and they never altered their approach, and they just kept getting worse and worse. And I don't think, as a team, I don't think they improved in this series. So I think that's the biggest loss for them. Coming to India is a good opportunity for them to improve themselves as a team, and I think that's something which they haven't done. So even more than the 4-1 loss, I think it's this thing that's the biggest loss for them. What do you think?
So for me, it was again, me and Adrit already made a video on this for the first Test match. I was a bit more on this. I was a bit more supportive of baseball, but as the Test series progressed, I thought it was not baseball anymore because I thought it was too reckless. Because when I first saw the way England have implemented this whole baseball theory as a whole, I mean, pretty they don't like to call it as baseball, but anyway, it was just a phrase came out of nowhere. But I say that maybe around after the third Test match, the last two Test matches that England played, they were completely outplayed by India. I thought they didn't. I thought it was not baseball. It was just too reckless because baseball wasn't supposed to be reckless. It was supposed to be just positive. Trying to be aggressive but not being reckless. I thought they were too reckless, and it's not just this series, but maybe in past few instances, somewhere, maybe in few Test matches or here or there. Um, you already saw a bit of a collapse in the middle order because this whole Test series has been predicated on the England's middle order collapse, and it exposed big time. But this is not the first time this happened because there were instances, especially even when baseball made its, even when Ben Stokes made his debut as captain, um, the middle order, the whole batting order had a major collapse. They didn't score a lot of runs. So, and at times, they even against some good bowling sides, they struggled to score a lot of runs. They have collapses, and this series completely opened the floodgates of just that batting order collapse. And I would give the positives for England. I thought that Zach Crawley really stepped up this series, even though this series was pretty much Yashasvi Jaiswal's breakout series, his coming out party. But for England, I think the one positive, or I would give two positives. I would say Ben Duckett and Zach Crawley, especially. That is, those two have really given England some good stability in their batting order. Their opening combination worked out okay. In the middle order, Joe Root actually redeemed himself in the second half of the series. That's another positive. And of course, like Prithvi mentioned, Shoaib Bashir. He really proved himself of how good a spinner he is, and I think he's going to be the future England spinner, that spinner that they would usually have, whether it's Swan or maybe Panesar, someone like that. We thought Dom Best was going to be that guy, but that wasn't to be. But right now, I think Shoaib Bashir should be groomed and be probably one of those pillars of the England team, being that striking bowler, that spinning option that they would have. But for India is concerned, it's what a comeback they had for down 0-1 and to win the remaining four test matches, especially the second and third test match. With the way things panned out, it was a close game, both sides. Third test match obviously was a Dhruv Jurel show, or you can call it, and yeah, and if you want
Pretty
to
sure.
call the fifth test match being that dominant, Rohit Sharma had a second 100 in the series. Shubman Gill also had a second 100 in the series. Shubman Gill came back to life, and he is now going to be going to bat at number three for the foreseeable future. I think Yashasvi Jaiswal, it's a major test upcoming ahead for him, playing in Australian conditions, which I think will suit him more because since his tall frame and the way he can handle any kind of delivery, whether it's short or anything full, especially with the bouncing conditions here in Australia, I think it will favor him a lot. So I think it would be a big test to Jaiswal against some great Australian quick bowlers, but not the most extreme step of that difficulty that he had to face in South Africa. I think it will be a bit fine here in Australia. But hey, a comprehensive win for India, and that's pretty much it. It was an expected outcome 4-1. I thought with the way the first test match went out, I thought it would be 3-2. There was a possibility of that happening, which almost did, but kudos to India. Without Kohli, without Shami, and Ashwin for a day, he had to leave back to Chennai, and then he had to come back.
Without
Again,
KL
James
Rahul
Anderson with
also.
700 wickets. Yeah, no KL Rahul. James Anderson being the third bowler in history to pick up 700 Test match wickets, the first fast bowler to pick 700 wickets in Test cricket. 187 Test matches. That longevity is unreal with his fitness and everything.
Unbelievable.
The dedication
Yeah.
he's shown, and yeah, that would be pretty much it.
He's
Yes.
going to be number two pretty soon. He said about 8 or 7
Yes.
wickets away from Shane Warne's
Yeah.
record.
Yep.
He will. He will. I think at this point, I think this summer will be the last of James Anderson, in my opinion. That could be, or
I don't think so, bro.
maybe,
I don't think so.
maybe
I think so.
I don't think so.
we'll
I
see.
think
We'll see. We'll
The
see.
one thing that we cannot discuss about is Anderson's retirement because we never know when
Bro,
it's
it's
going to
almost
happen.
like Dhoni and
Yes.
Anderson, bro. They keep playing whenever they want, man. They keep playing at
Yeah.
2045 when Anderson with his crutches playing against KOHLI. That also will happen.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, bro,
Anyway,
What?
if you
What?
look at
What?
it,
What?
if you look
Kakekoli.
at it,
Oh,
KOHLI,
son.
Virat Kohli's son.
Oh, son.
Yeah.
Yes. Ah.
But bro,
That's
I know.
the
even
reason why
70
I
years old
say
by the time he plays.
the reason why I say it may not be his last few test matches, especially this summer, because if you look at around the world, there is the only closest bowler who's in touching distance to break Murali's record is Anderson. If you look at it, I mean, I don't see Ashwin going that far. I think Ashwin will break Kumble's record. That I think will happen for sure. Maybe if he's playing Test cricket for 2 more years. I mean, I think Ashwin will play even more than that, man, because he's just playing Test cricket as of now, and maybe the occasional one day, maybe the occasional limited overs. You know, the limited over schedule he might have.
I
It
think
depends, but
Ashwin's limited overs is over, man. I feel
I mean,
Ashwin's
even I
limited
thought that
overs.
before the World Cup, but he was selected. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
I
just giving it as a I mean, I'm just giving it as a slight chance for him to play
Yeah.
limited overs, but it's
Anyway,
only very minor.
one
But it's
thing,
only very minor.
one word, one word I like to give it to all the to Ajit and to all the people. Mahapatlam, according to the great person,
Chika,
Chika.
Chika.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Mahapatlam. Yeah.
Mahapatlam. I'm
What was
told in
Mahapatlam
the
again?
first
What was Mahapatlam again?
Mahapatlam, bro. If you look at Chiki Chika, he would keep saying Mahapatlam. No,
Yeah,
That
for
means
what?
Patlam,
For what
complete,
did you say?
complete
complete,
decimation, complete
complete
decimation.
decimation.
Okay. No, but
I
Yeah.
mean, I agree
So
with
I
that.
know what it
That's what I was
means. I'm asking
admitting.
for what he's saying.
I mean, yeah, but
Oh,
that's what it
okay.
is. I admit, but that's what it is. I admit that the thing was the first test match it worked because England actually used baseball effectively. Their strategy was effective. They were in the right track what they were doing. But again,
it's
the
more
last few
on.
matches.
I tell you what. It's more on India's downfall, well, rather than India. England's batting has done well, but it's more on the India's bowling and the strategy and the tactics which Rohit Sharma has implemented. That is one of the reasons why
That is true.
England came back to the game. But anywhere else, we have discussed enough of this game. We'll move on to the another test which has recently happened, which is the Australia versus the New Zealand,
New Zealand series,
where
yeah. New
where
Zealand got
Australia has
whitewashed.
completely whitewashed. I know where
Yeah.
Australia is whitewashed. Second test match came very close. They won by 3 wickets, where Australia were like 100 for 7 or something like that, 100 for 5 wickets or 6 wickets. I'm not too sure. But then the way Alex Carey and Mitchell Marsh
Mitchell
resurrected
Marsh and
the entire ship and gave the Australians, and at
mm,
the end, Pat Cummins, the man with the golden arm, the man with the golden hand,
the man for Prime
winning
Minister.
the
What can
man
he
for the
not
Prime
do?
Minister. Exactly. So, Australia winning the Test series 2-0. What's your opinions, guys?
What I would say first of all is that can I go first? Do you want to say anything, Ajit?
You go
Yeah,
first.
you go ahead, Prithvi. No problem. You go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, I just want to point out to one thing. I don't think there's anything in the world Pat Cummins can't do. Like cricket seems too easy for him now. He's going really high now. He's like really looks like he hasn't even got to his peak yet. He's going to do much more. But in this series, one thing I wanna talk a bit about New Zealand team. Radhrit mentioned a lot about the Australian team. One thing I would say about the New Zealand team is this: the first thing is that I would say that the captaincy of Tim Southey left a lot to be desired because in the first Test match, in the very first, I think it was in the third day. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's in second day. Sorry, in the second day, Australia were able to add close to one more than 100 runs for the ninth wicket. Hazelwood and another
No, it was the
batter,
11th
another
wicket,
tail end
not
batter.
ninth, 11th wicket. 11th wicket.
Oh, I'm
The
sorry,
last wicket.
11th
Sorry,
wicket.
the
What I
last
meant was the
wicket. Sorry,
last
the final
wicket. Yeah,
wicket. Final
Last
wicket.
wicket
last wicket.
Sorry.
Yeah,
partnership.
yeah, last wicket. And to have so much runs leaked away in the last to wicket in conditions that suit fast bowling, in conditions that suit the kind of bowling team you are, because New Zealand are a fast bowling team for all intents and purposes. They only bowl fast, and if you're not able to pick up that last wicket and you leak so much runs, it honestly shows not good captaincy, to me at least. And the other reason why I think New Zealand are not quite able to become the one of the best test teams in the world is that, and this is the one thing that's lacking in the team the most. They don't have a specialist spinner. They always go with a fast bowling attack. They pack the team up with lots of fast bowlers, and they go into a match and they rely on the part-time spinners or spin bowling all-rounders to fill in the spin department. Now, you look at the successful teams in the world. Australia has a great spinner. South Africa, which has been a mildly successful, reasonably successful team, also has the specialist a spinner in the form of Keshav Maharaj. In fact, when South Africa to New Zealand and won that very first match, that's because of the effect that Keshav Maharaj had. Even in this series, you can see the impact Nathan Lyon had. He picked up a huge amount of wickets in the first match. Okay, and India also has a specialist spinner. I think New Zealand, for some reason, they just don't seem to be interested or keen in developing a specialist spinner. That's something which can really be sort of an um, X factor, in test matches in the modern test match. Okay, um, even in conditions that suit fast bowling, such as their own home conditions or England or Australia or in the senior countries. I think having a specialist spinner can make all of the difference. So I think New Zealand, they really are not quite the fact that they're not even trying to bring in a new debutant spinner. It's honestly, it's I don't understand why they're not doing it. What do you think?
Well, you rightfully point that out. New Zealand, I mean, look at it. They have Ajaz Patel who picked up a 10 for in an innings in India, and they're still not playing him. He picked up a 5 for and he was dropped, and he was not playing. As since then, they were going with Santner a lot more, and I think that may be a bit more reasonable one because they want to strengthen their batting order as deep as they can, and they rely on their fast bowlers. I mean, they're playing to their strengths, but again, that not having that striking spinning option is a bit of a weakness. And you mentioned how Australia and South Africa have had success. India, of course, India is a bit different in that because we've touched upon that last time with the way they always try to make sure, always not always, but when they travel overseas, especially in England and
Most of
South
the
Africa,
times.
they play Jadeja over Ashwin, and they have a fourth fast bowling option. And ever since that loss in the WTC final in 2021 against New Zealand, they have been very adamant on having a four fast bowling lineup. So that's where I think India differs a bit, but rightfully so. You've mentioned it.
Mm.
Them not having a striking spin bowling option has been a bit of a drawback.
Striking spin.
But the
Yeah.
positives for New Zealand, I would say that Rachin Ravindra, he is now really coming into his stride in pretty much all three formats, and I think he's going to be in the scheme of things for New Zealand moving forward. And of course, Daryl Mitchell and Rachin Ravindra had that good partnership they had for New Zealand to get a huge lead. I think Daryl Mitchell is someone who's going to be in that amongst the one of the best batsmen in Test cricket and possibly in all three formats. He's right there. And for Australia,
One of the
Cam
most
Green
underrated
is really.
cricketers in the world at this point.
Yeah, that's true. And Cam Green, he's really coming into his stride as an international cricketer
Good news
who's
for
gone.
CSK and RCB, by the way. Good news for both the teams.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, since IPL
That's true. Yeah,
season is going to come in, so of course. But
Yeah,
going
yeah.
into international cricket scene, I would say that Cam Green has really picked up his stride, and I think he should continue the where he's batting. And I'm sorry to say
yeah.
this, man, but Steve Smith as an opener is not working. They just have to
Yeah,
make that
yeah,
change and just put Travis
yeah.
Head as an opening batsman, bro. I mean, I can
Ah,
understand why they would want Travis Head
yeah,
to
yeah.
middle bat in the middle order. I understand that he has
Mhm.
had major success, but he's also had success as a test match opener as well. So I think just
Yeah,
have Travis Head as your opening option along with
yeah,
Usman Khawaja. It's not a bad idea
yeah.
overall. I mean, you had David Warner and
See,
Khawaja opening it
yeah,
for a while, so you might as well put Travis Head in there and continue Smith at four, Labuschagne at three, and have your other middle order batsmen in Cam Green and Mitch Marsh at 5 and 6, and you have the rest of the batting order with Alex Carey, Cummins, Stark,
mhm.
Hazelwood, and Lyon, and so on. So I think it's not that
But I think,
complicated.
yeah. But see, with what you said, I just want to pick up on what you said. You made a great point that the experiment of Steve Smith in the opening area is not working out. I think Australia have actually made a big mistake on this thing, according to me at least. What they've done is they've lost David Warner. They've brought in an all-rounder as his replacement, and they've moved probably the world's best number four batsman, put him in a spot in which he's not very comfortable in. And now I know you don't have a very strong opening batting because you've lost David Warner. Your opening is weak, and then your middle order also is okay. Mitch Marsh is good, but I don't think. See, in total, what they've done is they have replaced an opening batsman with a middle order all rounder, which honestly that doesn't make much sense to me, right?
I'll tell you
I
something, man.
think
I
I
believe.
yeah.
I'll tell you something.
Hmm,
Which Steve
hmm,
Smith has himself raised his hands and wanted to do the opening, want to be the opener.
hmm,
And I feel he's
yeah.
doing it out of selfishness. He's doing out of just
Hmm,
uh, out of stat padding, like
that's
how
right.
great
I
batsmen
don't
are.
see that.
They want to score a lot of runs. They want to better
I
their
think that's a
average, better
point
their
to that.
strike rate. Now, because I see he's a kind of a player where he doesn't. What I've heard from him, what we have seen in the YouTube videos, is that he's a chronic nightmare for all the net bowlers and the throw arms specialists, because he takes a lot of time batting and preparing himself. He can't wait. Rather than not thinking for the team that the team requires him to be the middle order, he's playing as an opener, which is not a bad thing, because you want to take up a new challenge and you wanted to face the new ball and give the teams a good start. But then I certainly believe that Steve Smith in the middle order adds so much of strength and power within the team that it is
Yeah.
missing at this point, because you're seeing a lot of collapses in the middle order itself. And I feel his experience is what matters a lot. And I feel that he's
I
doing a
think
lot of
Australia,
selfishness,
yeah. I
and
think
out of
Australia,
pure
hmm,
stats, nothing else.
Well,
I
I
think
disagree with
I think
that. I
Australia missed
disagree
a.
with yeah. I'll just add this. I
You go
disagree
ahead.
with what Adirit is mentioning. It's I don't want to. I mean, it's unfair to really put on some accusation of him with selfishness or anything. Okay, he's taking too much time, in the nets and all that preparation, all that. Okay, it's somewhere you need to have a balance and all that. I agree with your point on that aspect, but I think maybe he's just doing it for the team and saying, you know what, I'll take up the challenge and all that. It's just more of a volunteering, I would say, but I think
No, but
it's
I
it's safe
just
to say
feel
that it didn't work.
no, but
That's it. It's
no,
it's
but
a
I just
simple
feel
thing. It's a
no.
simple
Why
thing
do
that
you
it didn't
need to
work.
move
That's it.
away from what you've been? Why do you need to move away from something which you have done for so many years? You got success. Why do you need to shift away from that? His average is going down as it goes on, as he
Yeah,
opens. That's my
it is
point.
true, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. It's not working. Simple. You have to make a change. That's what
It's
I'm
not
saying.
working.
It's
That's what
Yeah.
I'm
That's
saying.
it.
And
But
he's not realizing that. He's not realizing that, and
And
that's my point.
they will probably put him back in
They will
number
put him.
four.
They have to do
It
it.
they will
wouldn't
do
take
that,
too
man. I
long for
mean,
Australia to
listen,
realize that.
it's
Yeah.
not working, so
Right.
I
Yeah.
think they will.
In terms
I
of
think they'll make that change. But
in
I
terms
Yeah,
think
of
we
the
have
but
teams,
ended
right? Yeah.
this. Yeah,
In
I
terms
think
of
with this we.
the team
Yeah, go ahead,
itself, right?
Prithvi.
See, in terms of the team itself, right? I just want to say that I think when David Warner retired, Australia had missed a really good chance to bring in the debutant left-hand opening batsman. Given how much talent they have in the house from their Big Bash series and from their Sheffield Shield games, they could have, like how India did with Yashasvi with Jaiswal, they could have actually taken this chance to bring in the debutant and begin to groom him, right? Especially given
they
how
call
much
Cameron
experience you
Bancroft.
have in the top order.
Cameron Bancroft is scoring a lot of runs. If you look at the stats, he is the
Mm.
Mm.
highest run scorer in the Sheffield Shield this season.
Sheffield Shield game, yeah, they could have
Agree with that.
probably brought him back as well as an opening.
Well, but
Is he an
well, but
opener?
you
I don't know
don't need.
actually.
I mean, well, if you want to go that route, okay, fine. But I don't think you need another debutant because you already have another person in there. You can put Travis Head in there because he's done a bit of opening
Hmm. Hmm.
batsman as an Australian in Test matches. So I don't think you need
Hmm.
to go that far. You just need to swap in few players and just the swap the order. I think that would do for now. If you
Yeah,
really
yeah.
want another opener,
But
you can select
swap it,
later.
yeah.
That's for the
See,
long term. That's fine. But
his stats. I'll tell you the stats of Cameron Bancroft: 778 runs, average 48.
yeah,
scored 3 centuries, 4 half centuries. Highest score
That's
is
true.
122. That means so you
I see.
need proper openers. But then I agree with you. I think Travis Head would be a better choice. Although I thought Cameron Green would be a better choice because would be an ideal choice because he does the role what David Warner does,
No,
that
no.
aggressive option. But then
I don't
Travis Head
think Cam Green would have actually fit. Dude, any all-rounder, if you suddenly put them in the opening thing, the opening aggression is quite different. I mean, it's not the same as middle order aggression, right? In the opening, the
Shane
ball is
Watson has
in
done
the
that.
opening time.
Shane Watson
Hmm,
has done that. Shane Watson has opened for Australia.
But Shane Watson
from
has
from
been
being
the proper opening batsman for a number of years, so that's a different thing. But I mean, it's not a bad option, but I would say it's not a good fit. You need to make it fair work, like how Smith is trying to do. He's trying to make this work,
And
which he's not a,
I think
it's not
probably
a good
Travis
fit.
Head
So it's
makes more
simple
sense.
as that.
I
So
think
I think
Travis Head makes more.
Travis Head
Yeah,
would make
Travis
a
Head
much
makes more
better
sense. Yeah,
sense.
I think Travis Head because
But I
Travis Head
think,
is a proper opener. I
yeah,
think
I think,
we have talked enough about it. So let's move on to
yeah,
the main
main
topic.
topic.
In
Yeah,
the last video we talked about the prime Graham Smith team, the prime South Africa versus the prime Kohli team. And if you look at the last videos now, we got a lot of views, and I think it worked. And we thought, no, why not we bring in the prime Ricky Ponting team? Because imagine a prime Ricky Ponting team, the guys are the Gilchrist, or the Haydens, or the Langers, versus the Kohlis, the Dishant Sharma, the Mohammad
Michael
Sharma,
Clark.
the Jasprit Bumrah,
Yeah,
Michael Clark, yes.
Mohammad
So,
Siraj.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. So, what I feel is that why not we do an hypothetical situation where we have an imaginary playing 11 and pick 11 on the basis of the kind of series we play. First, we can do a series in India, the prime Australia versus the prime India under the prime Kohli versus prime Ricky Ponting in India first, the Border Gavaskar Trophy in India. Then we can do it in Australia, which is more exciting than the India ones. So, without being said,
Mm.
let's go ahead with the Prime Australia team. Let's pick up the playing 11s for Prime Australia first. So,
yeah, I'll
I
do it.
would say that just yeah,
Adrit,
you do the
I'll
Australia.
Yeah, I'll create the playing 11s. I'll do this thing. I'll create the playing 11s for both the teams. And then based on
Okay.
that, we three will pick who will win the series for the Border
Yeah,
Gavaskar
yeah.
Trophy in India and Australia, and we'll just discuss on it.
You want me to
So
share the
for
screen? You want me to share the screen or I will share the screen?
no. I
The
can
share screens. Yeah.
just recite it like that. So for Prime Australia, this is not on based on just specifically. It's like I've picked the best playing 11 possible for both these teams, specific eras, as obviously. So for Australia, the openers, Justin Langer and Matthew Hayden as your openers. And number three, of course, the captain himself, Ricky Ponting. Number four, I have Damien Martin. Number five is Michael Clark. Number six, usually
Mr.
maybe before
Cricket,
that,
Mr. Cricket.
yeah, I mean,
Yes.
No
usually
debate.
before
Move
that,
on from it.
in Ashes 2005, they would have Katic, but I'm going with Hussey, of course, like
Now
Nadir
go
was
with
mentioning.
Hussey.
I'm
Michael
going
Hussey.
No debate.
Michael Hussey.
Michael
Yeah.
Hussey for
No
sure.
debate.
Michael
Yeah,
Hussey for
Michael
sure
Hussey.
at
Yeah.
number six. So number six, Michael Hussey. Number seven, Adam Gilchrist. Number eight, Shane Warne. Number nine, Brett Lee. Number 10, Jason Gillespie. And number 11 would be Glenn McGrath. Then for India, since the opening combination is a bit murky, I'm going to go with pretty much a similar team what they would play in what they played in England in the
I'll
2021
say the
Test
opening. Can I
series.
say I'll do the 11 for India. I'll do
Yeah,
the
sure,
playing
go
11
ahead.
for India. So I
Go
think
ahead.
the
Yeah.
opening would be KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. KL Rahul and Rohit
Yes,
Sharma is an ideal foil. What they have done in that series has been amazing.
Yeah.
Number three is Pujara. Number
Jara.
four is the King.
Virat Kohli.
Number
King.
five would be Ajinkya
Ajinkya Rahane.
Rahane. Number 6 would be Rishabh Pant. And
Yes.
since you're and you have number 7 Jadeja. Since you're playing in India, you have to pick Ashwin.
Of course,
Ashwin.
you have
Number
to.
8 number you have to pick Ashwin. Number 9 I would pick Kuldeep Yadav, because usually in India India plays 3 spinners, so I would pick Kuldeep Yadav. Number 10 would be Bumrah. Number 11 would be Muhammad Shami. In India, specifically in India.
How much?
We'll make a change in overseas. As of now, in India, this is the combination India usually goes with the 3 spinners and the 2 fast bowlers. So while we do comparisons, why not we do one thing? We'll do like a 4 test match series in India, where each ground we can say first test match in Chennai, second test match in Mumbai, third test match in Kolkata, fourth test match in Delhi, that kind of a thing. And on basis of that,
sure.
we can predict first test match in Chennai. I think India
Chennai.
will win. I think
It'll
India
be a
will
draw.
win.
Yeah, of
I think
course.
it'll be a draw. Nothing will be a draw because
Nah.
see,
It won't
what
be.
I think is
Yeah.
you look at the record of this Australian team, the prime Australian team, when they came to tour in India, and even when India went and toured them, they had this habit of hitting, of scoring quite slow, but still got to big the targets, big runs, and I think given the way the wicket in Chennai would play, given that it is more of a slow track, more on the slower side, I think and given the quality of this Australian team, and yes, one more thing, I think it'll be a drop. But the most important thing I think is that this Indian team under Virat Kohli, what they often do is in the very first match of a test series, they don't play so well. They sometimes lose or they get
Mm.
drawn. Or I thought this was the trend which only happened when India played overseas. But now it seems with the recent test series in India, it seems to be happening at home as well. The Indian team gets stronger and stronger as the
There's a
series goes
difference.
on.
It is
So.
under.
Uh,
There's a difference. It's under Rohit Sharma. We're talking about Virat Kohli. It's a
Look,
difference.
this happened. You
No, he
gotta
has a
think
point there.
think
I
about the
agree with
series
you
in
on that.
Australia also. The captain,
Yeah.
just the captain, won't make that big of the difference. When the way the team plays depends on all the players and the team itself, the players, the coach, all them put together. The trend of India is that they're usually the most vulnerable in the very first game of the series. And given this
Maybe.
Australian team, they might just be able to eke out a draw, maybe even win. I don't know. I would not straight out say an India victory in Chennai. What do you think? That's what I think.
Uh, I would disagree on you on captains
Mhm.
not making much of a difference. Captains, depending on the captain, it makes a huge difference. Because it's a different
Okay.
captain, different style of leadership, and he usually it's a difference of an ex-captain being a player than a player who is currently a captain. So a captain would have most of the control in it. So, but I agree with you on one thing that India, in a big test series, they would usually. It's been a trend as of late. Not every time, but it's a bit of an occurrence that they would play that really great in a first test match, and they tend to struggle a bit. But in that case, but even with that, I still give the edge to India, man, because it's in Chepauk. Ashwin is going to play. I mean, come on. Nobody's going to exploit Chepa
The
conditions like
bowling is
as great as Ashwin.
one thing I like to point out is that the prime
Yeah.
Australian teams, they're very good at sweeping the ball. The guys like
Yep.
Matthew Hayden, who grind out a lot, Gilchrist,
Yeah.
uh, uh, Justin Langer,
Except
Michael
for
Hussey.
Ricky Ponting though. He doesn't sweep.
Yep.
Yeah, he
He
doesn't
doesn't
sweep.
sweep.
Yes, Gilchrist. If imagine if
Top
Gilchrist
sweep,
is
yeah.
set, he will smash any ball. But then
He will
on
take
the
the
other
Top
hand,
sweep.
the
lead.
quality. On the other hand, the quality of the Indian bowling is so good that it will be very tough for the Australian team to counteract that bowling, that type of bowling. And so I feel uh, on the basis of the bowling lineup, what India has got a lot more ammunition more than the Australian, because Australia has only Shane Warne. So
And
with
they'll
that,
use
on the
Michael Clark.
basis,
And they'll use Michael Clark.
Michael
even
Clark
Michael
is
Clark,
also there, yeah. The
Michael
spin
Clark is
action.
there, but Michael Clark
Mhm.
is there. I mean, I would say the bowling will give a competition, but I believe that it is the
India.
quality of the batting will surpass. I think, but then the quality of the bowling is what makes a huge difference. I would say India will win the first test match. Second test match will be in Mumbai, flat wicket. I believe that
Nice,
India might
yeah.
make one. I think India may not make any changes. I think Shami and Bumrah will wreck the whole batting
No,
lineup in the first
let's
game.
agree on what's happened on the first test. What do you guys vote? I vote a
I
draw. What do you three vote?
I go with the win.
India.
You
No,
two
it's
vote?
already. I'll go with
Okay,
India win.
fine. So India win, I guess. So let's say India win. Okay,
So
so go to
second
Mumbai.
test in Mumbai, which we all know in the first half of the session, first session, the ball will move around. As
Win.
the days goes on, the pitches, as the test match goes on, the pitches will become more slower and more. The ball will start to turn. But it's a very flat wicket also. First 3 days will be very flat bat on. So I think that will give the edge to Australia in that aspect. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's very difficult to predict the results. What do you guys think?
I'm going Australia, man. It will be a close match. I'm not saying that Australia will dominate, but yeah, man, I think Australia will have the edge on it, man. Because and I'll tell you why. Because the seam friendly conditions, you have Brett Lee, McGrath, and Gillespie. McGrath will be a threat in the Mumbai wickets, man. Because
Yes.
the one
Yes.
thing about
Yes.
Glenn
I was about
McGrath
to say
in
that.
any wicket, especially in flat wickets or in seam friendly conditions, his line and length is not going to change. He will cause huge trouble to them, to the opening batsman and the middle order. So I think Glenn McGrath will have a big impact on that match in Mumbai. I think
Yeah.
his influence will be noticed a lot. And coming back to the Australian batting order, man, let's not forget Matthew Hayden's track record in India, especially the 2001 series, the three Test match series he played in. That was his breakout series. If you look at it, Matthew Hayden's breakout series, that was the big one because he had 200s in that series, and especially in Mumbai, not the Wankhede Stadium they played, but it was a different stadium in Mumbai. Still, it's pretty much the conditions are similar. Hayden had a double century in Chepauk, so I wanted to add that as well. In Chepauk, he had a double
Yeah,
century in the third Test
yeah.
match, and in the first Test match, he had a century in that as well. So Hayden will have a huge impact in the series. So I would say that Ricky Ponting, I'll tell you what, Ricky Ponting may do a little bit fine, not as bad as we would think, not as bad as he did in 01, but I think he would be a little good because as and when he got older, he became a much better player in conditions around the world, even though not as great in India as in everywhere else. But I would say that Matthew Hayden will definitely have his impact written
Mhm.
on it for the batting side in Chepauk as well as now we are going to mention in Mumbai as well. So I would give
Mhm.
uh, I would give the edge
Yeah.
to Australia in that way, man. But
Mhm.
it's going to be close. Toss.
Mhm.
The whoever is going to bat
The
first
toss make a
will
difference.
dictate.
Big difference. Yeah.
Toss will make a difference, and whoever is going to bat first will dictate the pace. But I
Mhm.
think toss is just only a small factor. But I'm just mentioning it out that even though I'm giving saying that it could
Australia.
make a difference, but it's not too big. But I would give it to Australia, man, regardless of whoever is batting first or whoever is chasing. I think Australia will have the edge on this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think in Mumbai, this match could actually be the victory for Australia. Assuming that Australia win the first match. I'm sorry, India win the first match. That's Chepauk. This could be a victory for Australia because you mentioned you had a very good point about uh, Glenn McGrath, and not only him. Australia also have Mitchell to Johnson. And if there's one thing that has troubled this top order of the Indian batting unit, it's
Mitchell
tall
Johnson?
left arm bowlers.
Mitchell
Do
Johnson
you
is
have
not there,
Mitchell
bro.
Johnson?
Mitchell
No,
Johnson is
no,
Not
not in
no,
the
there.
playing
no.
11, bro.
He's not there in the playing 11.
It's not there playing 11. I didn't
We
hear you
have
well, I
Brett
think.
Lee and Jason Gillespie.
And
Hmm.
McGrath.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, I probably have to drop the second thing that's about to say. That's about to say that his left arm action will trouble our a batsman, but just for the Glenn McGrath himself, he'll be a threat to the Indian batsman because
And Brett Lee
he
also,
also has
man.
height,
Let's not
his
forget
height
Brett
and
Lee.
his Bradley on the yeah, but I think more than him, I think. Glenmilra will have an impact
Yeah,
because
yes.
the bowling backup length on top of the off stump and with his height, I think he was able to extract a bounce from that surface. It'll be difficult for a batsman. And I think I want to say one thing about Ricky Ponting. I think Ricky Ponting will probably face the difficulty in this series because his weakness has been against the spin. And if you will remember how his uh, Harbhajan Singh got him out like almost 13 times in his international career. So like him, we have Rashwin in this team. So maybe what. And knowing Kohli, probably what Kohli will do is he'll bring Ricky Ponting in. He'll have Ashwin from when Ricky Ponting comes into bat. He'll have Ashwin from one end and Jadeja from the other end. And assuming that Ashwin doesn't get him out, maybe they go on for almost 12 overs, and Ricky Ponting keeps on that, they're struggling against a high quality spin attack. And of course, Kohli being Kohli will probably keep sledging him from the slips or near him, and so then he gets Ricky Ponting all riled up, and then he might bring Bumrah or Shami in, and then have them to bowl short and keep somebody to waiting for to miss time pull shot, they get him caught and he's
And you
finished.
have
No,
Kuldeep
but
as
I
well,
don't
bro.
think
forget.
I think that's
No, no, but don't
yeah.
Kuldeep
forget.
is
Don't
there as
forget
well.
Prithvi. Kuldeep is there,
Kohli,
but
yeah,
don't forget Prithvi that don't forget
yeah.
Prithvi. The Ricky Ponting is one of the best pullers of the ball. He plays the best
He's
pull shots.
And conversely, he has gotten out so many times playing the pull shot also. It is more the true when he was past this prime. But if you see his records, he is a very good player of the pull shot. But he has also gotten out playing a pull shot so many times. And
Really,
and the
Fair
thing is,
enough.
he's no see. Wait, he is a short guy. Okay, he's not a tall guy. It's a short guy, so he can't get natural power in his pull shots, and especially with the slow Indian to wickets, he won't have too much the pace to work with. You have to put a lot of power into hooking the ball from his body. So Kohli
That's a good
can
point.
just set a great trap there. He can have Bumrah come bowl
it's just like Rohit
slower
Sharma.
the bouncers.
Just like Rohit
What?
Yeah.
Sharma's way of getting out.
Mm,
But
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
but
to
see,
add
yeah,
a
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah, you
yeah. I
continue.
think
You
if
finish it off.
if
Finish
you
off
can
the point.
rile, Kohli will probably rile Ricky Ponting up by bowling the spin from two ends.
Yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
keeps the sledgehammering him, and then he brings in, let's say Shami, no, let's say he brings in Bumrah, and then he gets him to bowl a slow short ball. Ponting goes for the pull, pulls with no power, gets caught, he's finished. I think,
I think I
I'll add
agree
and
one
I
with
think
point.
that's yeah.
I agree.
Go ahead.
It's a good point. I agree. I'll add one point. Generally
Uh,
speaking, India has, in the recent times with this set of players, India has done well in flat wickets. Whereas in turning wickets, India has not done really well. If you look at this set of players, because they don't play well in, they don't play really well in spinning wickets. But then, as we said that on the first test match, because of the quality of what India has as in the bowling lineup, that has given the edge to the Indian team. Whereas in flat wicket, I believe that India will give a stiff competition because due to guys like Rohit Sharma who plays the pull shot really well, KL Rahul,
And
Pujara
he's
will do
from
well.
Mumbai also.
Mumbai and Ajinkya Rahane is also from Mumbai also. Let's not forget it. And
Yeah.
Virat Kohli will do well. So I believe and Rishabh Pant will smash Shane more like anything. So I
yeah.
believe that India will give a stiff competition, and with that being said, I think India will win the match. You guys said two. You guys said Australia will win. I've been
Yeah.
outvoted, which is unfortunate. Prithvi, you said Australia will win, no?
No, see, if you, what I think honestly is that the first match is going to be a draw, and then the second match India is going to win. But since we agreed that the first match is going to be an India win, um, just to forget about all of the cricket or anything, just given the mental and the mindset and not the mindset, the mental strength and the will of this Australian team, they'll probably come back with a big win. It's in Mumbai.
Okay.
And if they are
Okay.
to win at any part in India, let's assume it's the Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, and Calcutta, the place in which they'll most likely to win is in Mumbai, at least according to
Hmm.
me. So yeah, I think Australia will be able to win this match, assuming that they lose the first match.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
one
Okay.
one,
So we all.
1-1.
So
Let's go to Calcutta now. Okay,
Let's go to Calcutta.
right?
we'll go to the
Calcutta. Oh,
Calcutta.
okay,
As we know,
1-1,
in
1-1. Best. Yeah.
it's 1-1. Okay. I said 2-0 India, but 1-1. Okay, fine. I have to swallow
Mm.
my ego out and go with the majority of the people.
Dude, come
So
on. This is turning out to be a very good series.
I
1-1
know,
to Calcutta.
I know.
Here we go.
So I think it's in Calcutta. The crowd is we all know it's one of the most electrifying
Mm,
atmospheres in Calcutta.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
I really wish
I
we
believe
had a Ganguly in our team. But go on.
Ganguly. We got
Yeah.
Kohli,
Go
man.
on, go on.
Kohli is enough.
Sorry, go on.
Kohli is enough.
Goal is
Kohli
enough.
is
Yeah,
enough.
goal is enough.
Yeah. So
I
I
mean,
feel
let's
that
move
in the
on to
third
this.
test, yeah, generally speaking, Kolkata in the recent times has become a bit of a flat wicket. The ball will
Mhm.
move around a bit in the morning sessions. But then as the
Mhm.
test match goes, but in the first 3-4 days, it becomes a lot more flatter. But the fourth and the fifth day, or maybe from the second half of the third day, second session, the ball will start to turn. That's where the quality of Indian bowling will come up. But then at the
Yeah.
same time, the Australian batting will come into the picture. Someone like Ricky Ponting, because he had two failures. Maybe he has done well in the second test match. I don't know. But then he will come with a bit more gumption. And I believe someone like Michael Clark or Michael Hassan will start stepping up because
Somebody will. Somebody will.
Somebody
somebody
will.
will step up. Somebody will step up in some ways or the other. But I have this feeling that someone like Jadeja, with his pinpoint accuracy, stump to stump, and Shami with the reverse swinging ball. If you remember his debut test, Shami, the way he reverse
Yeah.
swing the ball, it will he reverse swing the ball like anything.
And that's his
So
home ground as well.
that is his home ground exactly. So I believe that yes, Australia will do well as a batting unit, but then the Indian bowling lineup will again triumph. And of course, the batting lineup with India, with someone like Rishabh Pant, will step up. I believe Rishabh Pant and the Jadejas will step up, will step up
I think,
big time.
yeah,
So I
for sure.
feel
Yeah.
it would be India's victory to go. I believe India will win just on the purely on the basis of the bowling front. Not saying that Australian the bowling is that bad because McGrath and Brett and Jason Gillespie, the kind of bowling attack they have got. Shane Warne will coming in. But then I feel that India's batting lineup will be able to cope, especially with someone like Rishabh Pant who will be promoted up here and there just to negate the threat of Shane Warne.
Yeah.
So I feel that but I feel it will be India's victory. What do you guys think?
I'll go with
Yeah, I
this.
think it's going to be.
Prithvi.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so in
Go
my
ahead. Go ahead. Go
opinion,
ahead.
and this why I'll go first then. This match will decide the series because this is going to be the match of the series, and I'll tell you why. The first two test matches, regardless of how it is, it may be close or not, but this match is going to be very close, and I'll give the slight edge to India. Like how, I mean, Adrit, I don't know how. What do you think of it? How close the match will be? But I feel it's going to be the tight, one of the closest matches of the series, if not one of the close test matches, probably in maybe in history.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I go with this is because the mentality, like how Prithvi said, the mentality that Australia have, but also let's not forget that we are in the middle of a series, and I think if this is where I think the big players will step up. And let's not forget how small the ground is in terms of the outfield and look at the distance.
Yeah.
This is where I think Rohit Sharma and Rishabh Pant and Rohit Sharma will make a lot of runs. Kohli will step up with it because with the defining match, how close, how big this match is. I think with the big match, Virat Kohli will come into picture and he will really make his imprint on it. And
Yeah.
with Rohit Sharma, his let's not forget that he made his debut matches in he made his debut in Eden Gardens, and
Yes,
he's had
yes.
a pretty a stellar record in Eden Gardens in limited overs and in Test matches also. Because if you look at his limited overs, what he'd done, the 264 he hit
200,
in Eden
the
Gardens,
200, yeah, yeah.
and also his
261.
debut Test match, he almost he was nearing a double hundred, even though it was against West Indies. But again,
Yeah,
Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, and Virat Kohli will really put their imprint on it. And for Australia, Ricky Ponting with the mentality that he has, especially when it comes to this crunch moments, Ricky Ponting will really step up. Hayden will, of course, continue his good form. Hussey and Michael Clark will start to, up their ante and get their A game in. It's going to be a tight contest between both sides, but with Ashwin, Kuldeep, and Jadeja, I think a slight edge, a very
yeah,
slight edge that is, but it could go either
mhm,
way. I would pick India,
yeah.
not because of sentiment or as
I
such, but I'm picking
this would
on
Uh,
be
quality.
I
I
But
I
it's
would,
just
going
want
to
to
be
add
very
one.
tight.
I would
It
say
could go
that,
either way.
I'll tell you what.
yeah,
I'll before Prithvi goes, I'll just add one point
yeah,
that this is the ground where where fast bowlers will get a lot of reverse swing, and I said Shami will get the reverse swing. But let's not
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
that
yeah.
Australia has extreme pace bowlers, and I
Mhm.
believe that Brett Lee will challenge Indian
Bradley will get
batsmen
reverse swing, yeah.
anytime.
That's when I say
He
that,
will
yeah,
get
that's when I
reverse
say that,
swing.
yeah.
Of course, Mekarath will get it because he's too good a bowler to bowl in any surfaces. But if
Um,
someone
it
like Brett
doesn't
Lee
have
with
too much to pace, dude.
no, but
For reverse
Mekarath,
swing, you need
in,
pace, that, yeah.
I know.
That's also said. Go on, sorry,
But
go on.
McGrath has a pinpoint accuracy, and he has. It's not like he's very fast. He's very deceptively quick. Let's not forget
Mm,
that. So, but then I believe that Brett Lee will be a bigger threat. I don't think Shane Warne will have much of an impact as usual. That he doesn't have a great record in India. So I believe that
yeah.
Shane Warne will be negated a bit, but Brett Lee will have a huge impact. I think Prithvi, you go with your point.
Yeah, I think this match, like Ajit said, it is going to be close. I don't think it'll be as close as you're saying. Like you said, this match might go down in history as one of the closest matches. So I don't think it'll go to that extent because simply because of the quality of the Indian bowlers. Because now we are more than halfway into the series, and if you look at the records, that's when these three the spinners from India, Kuldeep, Ashwin, and Tanjaddu. These three, when they are at their prime and when they are at their highest the strength, I don't think any of the batting side can feel comfortable. And also, given that it is the home ground of Mohammad Shami, given that he has that reverse swing ability, I think Shami will be a big threat to this Aussie team, uh, especially since they may not have that much experience to facing him in India. Assuming this is the first time these two teams go together. So and so for these reasons, I think, but still, I think Australia will come back. They have a very tough mindset. They will come back and they will probably score big runs. You probably will see a lot of hard hitting from Adam Gilchrist, and you'll see a lot of the sixes. You'll see a lot of score big hits. I think this match can probably go to the draw as well, but that's assuming India come to bat in the fourth innings. If India wins the toss or if India bowls in the fourth innings, I think it's definitely going to be an Indian victory because those three the spinners with the reverse swing ability of Shami in his home ground plus the captaincy to Virat Kohli, India will surely be able to win if they bowl in the fourth innings. If India instead bat in the fourth innings, then I think as a possibility it could go very, very close. To very close, it might even be a draw. Uh, but yeah, I would vote the victory for India. What do you guys think?
yeah, it's India
Uh,
for me as well, even though it's going to be very
for
close.
first time, all of us has unanimously agreed, which is a good thing because not many disagreements is there. We all agree that India will win the third test in Calcutta and going to the final test match in Delhi. historically it is known for a spinning wicket or turning wicket. First,
Yeah.
first ball of the test match itself starts to turn. And it will be a very, very tricky situation because just for a simple reason that neither of the teams are great players to spin. We're not talking about the Indian prime team with the Tendulkars, the Lakshmans, and the Dravids because they're
Mhm.
great players to spin. The current Indian team, they whenever they play in turning wickets, they are not really great. They
The
get out a
best, yeah.
lot.
So,
They're not the best.
yeah.
And I think that this is where the Australian batting lineup will come into the fore, where the sweeping of the that's where you have to use a lot of your wrist. You have to sweep a lot, and that's where your defense needs to come into the picture. Uh, I feel that it'll be very tough. It'll be very close match. And I'll say in the bowling front that Ashwin has a great record in his debut test match itself. He picked up a lot of wickets, and Jadeja also has picked up lot of wickets. I remember that India played a test match in Delhi where ran through the Australian batting lineup. So, uh, and of course, Bumrah will come into the picture. He'll pick up 2, 3 wickets in
Yeah.
between. But I think it will be the duo of Ashwin and Jadeja. As far as the Australian bowling front is concerned, I feel this would be the match where the mighty Vaughan will come into the picture. He will come into the picture because the pitch is favoring him, plus the fact that the current state of Indian batting in a way they're not great at playing spin. He will come into the picture. He will rip off the batting and he'll pick up six,
Yes.
seven
Yes.
wicket haul. His
Yes.
quality will come
Agree.
into the picture. So I believe
Mhm.
that he will come through. As far as picking the victory, who will win, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But
I
it'll be
think,
very tough.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
you
I
go,
think
Prithvi.
it won't just be the match in which the mighty Shane Warne comes in. I also think this might be the match in which the mighty Bumrah also might come in.
I said,
The
yeah,
reason is
Bumrah will
that
come.
well, first of all, he has a knack for surprising everybody. India goes to play in a wicket that is thought to be a spin-friendly wicket, and we say that Ashwin Jadeja will pick up most of the wickets. That guy just comes in and picks up 6, 7 wickets. So he's Bumrah after all. But I think given the threat that these three spinners pose in a spin condition, I think the Australian team will try desperately to go after the Bumrah. They'll try to do most of the scoring off him. And I think Shami will pick up a lot of the wickets in the Calcutta test. So they'll probably be apprehensive about going after him also. So they try their best to go after Bumrah, and knowing the Kohli Bumrah combination, I think Bumrah actually might just be able to pick up 4 or 5 wickets in one innings. And this will be, like Aldrich said, this will be the match in which the mighty Shane Warne comes in. Um, so this is going to be this match probably will get over in 4 days. There's no way this match is going to go to a draw.
Yeah.
I think
I agree
I
with you.
think bowlers I
I
think
I
agree with
bowlers
that.
agree with you.
will
I agree with you.
will, will dominate. 40 wickets is going to fall. Um, I would still have to give the edge to India, given that simply the numbers we have three good spinners. Australia has one. So I mean, Shane Warne is good. He
Potentially
can
two
bowl
with
long
Michael
off
Clark in
spells.
there. Potentially with
Yeah,
Michael
Michael
Clark
Clark
in there.
too. Yeah,
Michael Clark, Michael Clark will also
Michael Clark
spin
has
his
been
head,
good.
will also
Yeah,
pick out a wicket or two. Shane Warne will pick up most of the wickets,
most
but
of the
then it'll be
wickets. Yeah.
Michael Clark. But then it'll be Michael Clark, or maybe if Australia makes a change, maybe bring Stuart McGill to support
Mm-hmm.
Shane Warne. Maybe that
That's
could
good.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a
Stuart
good
McGill
idea.
or
Yeah, that can happen
Brad
too.
Hogg. So that
Brad
could
Hogan
happen
can also
also.
bowl spin. Yeah,
It
yeah.
will
I
be
think
a spin. It'll
spin.
be a spin fest. What do you think? What do you think, Ajit?
Okay, I'll make it a bit short. I'm gonna give the edge to India. Not just because of the spinners that India has, but I'm gonna give this my opinion, man. I believe that with KL Rahul in there, we haven't touched too much on how KL Rahul will perform in the series. I believe that in Delhi, I mean, of course, regardless of how he would play in the first three test matches, I think he would do just fine. But him, I think against spin is a different proposition altogether. I think KL Rahul will do well, especially in fourth test match. He would come in very handy. He would have an imprint in the match. And I can't really exclude Kohli out of this, man. I don't see Shane Warne ripping through the Indian batting lineup if he doesn't figure out a way to get Kohli. Because as and when he has gotten older, maybe yes, he is bit of a maybe a bit of a struggle against spin. But when he was in his prime, I think Kohli against any bowler was so dominant. He would do well,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I
We
think
haven't touched upon Kohli. We haven't touched upon Kohli.
we will do that.
Yes,
We will do
about
that once we review all of it, and we'll see
Yeah,
who
yeah,
would be the
yeah.
best
yeah, yeah.
players out of the series.
I
We'll do
know.
that. But
Yeah, I just one
Yeah.
more point. Just one more point that I
yeah,
believe
go
that
ahead.
Ajinkya Rahane and Pujara will step up, and the reason is that Ajinkya Rahane has scored two twin centuries in Delhi against South Africa in 2015, where you
Mhm.
remember the uneven bounce
I know that.
that he play a huge role because in crunch situation, Ajinkya Rahane will step up the most, and
Mhm.
Pujara also will play an
I
anchor also. I believe these two will.
yeah, I disagree on that, dude. Because I think we agree that this match is going to get over in 4 days. And with such the quick matches, it probably won't suit to Pujara to Rahane's the style of playing slow and taking the game to deep. I think Australia will find a way to break the partnership, assuming it
Hmm.
comes down to a partnership between Rahane and Pujara. It could just happen that
Yeah.
maybe Rahane plays faster, but I really
No,
don't
he will
see
play faster.
Pujara doing too much. He might,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he probably will, but I don't see Pujara making a very big contribution in this thing.
Maybe.
Amongst the
Well,
batters from India, Rishabh Pant, Kohli, KL Rahul, maybe Rohit Sharma. These are the four guys
I
I
would,
can think
I,
of.
I believe, I feel that Rohit Sharma will struggle against spin. KL Rahul will struggle
Mm-hmm.
against spin. It was only
Mm-hmm.
between Kohli might will do well. Rishabh Pant will be having a rare failure. Jadeja will have a rare failure. But I feel the
Jadeja.
third innings or
Let's talk about him.
the
Yes.
third and the fourth innings, I feel that that's where Rahane and the Pujaras will step up. I believe that's what will happen. Anyway,
Well, I
I believe
disagree with
India
that.
will win.
I'm gonna go with India, and I'm gonna see that KL Rahul. I think he would come up good against spin. I feel that
Maybe,
he's a bit different when it comes to home conditions. He's had
maybe.
a good record at home, so I would give that edge to KL Rahul, especially even in good spin conditions. I think KL Rahul would do well. He might have the best match of he might have his best match of the series, and if Shane Warne doesn't figure out a way to get Kohli, I don't see him ripping through the batting lineup, man. I think that would be a different scenario if he manages to get Kohli out. But Virat Kohli, prime Virat Kohli, man. We are talking about a man in peak form. I don't
I
see a
agree.
scenario if Shane Warne is
Yeah.
not able to
I
get
agree with you.
Kohli out. I don't see him ripping through the batting lineup. It's going to be very difficult, especially if Kohli and Rahane play, or if Kohli and Pujara play at the same time with a big partnership going on. I don't see that happening. I don't see Australia really going through into it. For me, just because of the sheer quality of bowling and also the Kohli, Pujara, the Indian middle order stepping up, I don't see it happening. I think I'll give it to
Yeah, yeah.
India. I think
I give
India
it
will
to
win
I
the
give it
series.
to
In my opinion, that's how I feel. But it will be a close series because if a change in results in Chennai or in any one of those results, whether it's in the first three test matches, if instead of India winning it one, if Australia wins it, it could be a draw. But I don't see a scenario where with this peak Indian team losing a series in their home conditions. I don't see that happening. So India will
I
win the
agree.
series, take 3-1, and win the Border Gavaskar Trophy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Border
I'll go with
Gavaskar.
four in the I go
The
with
trophy
four
will go
nil.
to
I'll go with
Gavaskar's
4-0.
place. Yeah.
You're
I'll go
going
I'll
with
with
go
4
4
with
nil.
0
the 3-1.
Yeah.
What?
You go with 3-1,
4-0.
I go
Wow.
with 4-0
The
because
3-1.
as I said, man, in Mumbai that India does well in flat wickets and it suits them a lot more. So I believe it'll be 4-0. Well,
I'm going with
with that being
I
said,
really don't think 4-0 will happen, though. This is the Australian team, dude.
I
maybe,
don't think so
Even
either.
maybe,
even this England team managed to win to one match, dude.
without the main players of Indian team. That's what we are talking about. We are talking about the main Indian team.
I mean, we don't need to go that far into it. I mean, it's 3-1 for me, 3-1 for Prithvi as well. Is it? Yeah, and
Yeah.
4-0
So, yeah.
according to Adrit. So I think we'll go on to the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia, because this is where the main part, the hub of this is
Who's going to be
the
the player of the match?
this is the
The
big one
player
we
of
are going to see,
the
because
series. Who's going to be the player of the series? Let's just talk about that before Australia plays here.
before
Who's
we
going to
move
be
into
there?
that, okay,
Yeah. I think it's going to be Virat
I
Kohli.
don't see a scenario where
Virat Kohli. Yeah.
Virat Kohli is not going to be the best player of the series.
Yeah.
I'll give the edge to Kohli. Matthew Hayden
Mm-hmm.
might give him a
Yeah.
competition because
This
of how
batters. Yeah.
good a track record he has in India. Mike Hussey might do some. Mike Hussey might also give in a
Mm,
competition, because how
yeah.
brilliant of a cricketer Mike Hussey is. Because I don't see a scenario where
Yeah.
Mike Hussey is going to struggle the series, man. Maybe one match failure or
Mm,
here, but Hussey will really come in
yeah.
good.
Hussey will
Obviously I have to go
probably.
with Pujara.
Hussey will. Yeah. No, no, go on. That's it when we go to Australia. I think it will be Kohli or Hayden. Uh,
My
because
my my
these
choice
guys,
will be a
because
bit.
they be like. That's one side there. Because I think the
Yeah,
player
yeah,
of
finish it off.
series are probably they favor the batters more than the bowlers. So I think yeah, it'll for me it'll mostly be Virat Kohli. Virat
I
Kohli,
tell you
or
what.
it could just be maybe KL Rahul. Maybe if he gets a huge amount of runs, it could be him also. Two out of three. Sorry.
I have three options.
Hmm.
One would be Mohammad
Yeah.
Shami, because you're talking about in India reverse swinging and he'll pick up a lot of wickets. Ashwin, he picks up bag loads of
Yes.
wickets in spinning. And from Australia, and I believe it would be Matthew Hayden, just because of the sheer track record in India. I think he will do very well. So I think these are the three options. Without being said, let's go with the test
Australia.
series in Australia, and we'll pick
Where's the
four
first test?
venues. The first,
In
I'll
your
tell you.
place.
The first,
The Gabba. The
I'll tell you
Gabba.
what.
The Kansas
The
place.
first one, yeah. The first test match will be in Gabba. The second test match
Australia
will
will win.
be
Yeah. I'm sorry,
Okay,
go
in.
on. Sorry, go on.
let's wait. Let's hold on. Finish it, Adrit.
Let's go with the four venues. It'll be a four
Yeah.
test match series. Let's go with the first test match in Gabba. The second test match will be in Adelaide. The third test match
Mm.
Mm.
will be in Melbourne. The fourth test match will be Sydney. The second test match,
Mm.
let's not forget, it will be the ping ball test match. Let's not forget that
Ping
as
ball
well.
test match. Do you think
Yes,
the Australian
in
team at that
Adelaide,
time
in Adelaide,
Adelaide ping ball?
in
Adelaide,
Adelaide,
yes. So
in Adelaide, there's a
Adelaide
ping
for
ball
ping
test.
ball. Can
Exactly.
I
The
just
first test match,
say one thing? Can we have
yeah.
Can we have one match at the Waka? Because I think the Waka will be so fast, lots
No,
of pace, lots of
in
bounce.
recent times they don't use. In recent times they haven't used Waka at all. They've
They use
went with the
Optus.
Optus. They use Optus Stadium, and I believe that
Oh,
Optus Stadium
I
doesn't
don't know that.
attract the
Okay.
crowd. I don't think at
Hmm.
Optus Stadium will not attract a crowd. In cultural references, I believe that the Brisbane,
Yeah.
Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney will host these four test matches
Yeah.
purely on the basis of the history of the ground. So let's go,
Just say
without being
again.
saying that, let's go
Just say again. Who all? Which places? I'm sorry. This who? Which places?
Gabba,
Gabba.
Brisbane,
Okay. Just
uh,
Gabba. Brisbane are the
Adelaide.
same thing, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's one.
Gabba,
Then Adelaide.
Adelaide, then
So why do you need to write? We'll tell you. We'll go with the one
uh,
test match. Why do you need
trying
to
to keep it
write?
in mind. Yeah.
Harry, let him write. No
Gabba,
problem.
Adelaide. What's the next two? Gabba,
Melbourne and
Gabba,
Adelaide.
Sydney.
Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney.
Oh, okay. Got it. Sydney.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Let's
let's
go.
go with the first. Let's go with the first test match in Gabba. Let's go with the playing 11. I think we don't have to change the Australian playing 11. They're not going to go. They're going to go with the same team as we discussed earlier. As far as India is concerned, we all know. Let's agree upon it that Ashwin will be dropped purely on the basis
No,
of the
Ashwin will
fact
be
that
dropped.
no,
Okay.
no, 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 no,
Ashwin,
no, no, no. Not in Australia.
Ashwin.
maybe. Oh yeah, I forgot about it's in Australia. I forgot. But you're playing
No, no, no,
in
no, no.
Gabba in with it's a pacey and bouncy wickets. In certain conditions where Ashwin would be used, I believe.
Bro, I
And
don't see that happen.
This is going to be a huge. This is going to be a long. the debate. But go on.
I'm
Can we agree
I'm I'm
that
telling you,
Go
man.
on.
Kuldeep Yadav is going to be dropped?
I,
We can drop
and
Kuldeep
he'll be
Yadav.
dropped,
Yeah,
I'll say,
that's not a question.
and I tell you who will be the batting will remain the same till Jadeja. There's no
Hmm.
question about it. My bowling line will be Bumrah, Shami, Ishan Sharma, Mohammad Siraj, and Jadeja. These are the 5 bowlers I think India will go with. What is your bowling lineup, Ajit?
Yeah.
Well, just for the sake of having a playing 11, but rather than a squad, because we obviously didn't discuss a full squad, so I'll just go with the standard playing 11. I believe
Go with the
Ashwin
playing
will
11.
play most of this. I think Ashwin will play most of the series, bro. If not all 4 matches, I'm not sure. They could do a change. Saying that me personally with the fast bowling attack, I will go with Ishan Sharma, Bumrah, and Shami because peak Kohli team without Ishant Sharma in overseas conditions, I don't see a scenario that happening. But since if we want to go 4 fast bowling lineup, the same 4, maybe depending on the conditions, you would drop Ashwin and bring in Siraj. But just for the sake of having a standard playing 11, maybe a fixed one rather than seeing okay depending on the test match if it's going to change or not. I'm going to go with Ashwin, Jadeja, Shami, Bumrah, and Ishant Sharma. Man, that's my bowling attack because Ashwin in Australia has a good record, bro. So I'm not gonna. I don't see a scenario where Ashwin was not going to have an impact. Bro. So with
I
that
would
being
say
Yeah.
said,
I would say that I
I
would
would
say I
say,
would
yeah,
say
I would say
I will say one
probably
thing. I will say one
the
thing.
same.
Just
Yeah.
hold on, Prithvi. Just before
Yeah. Yeah.
you talk, I will say that Ashwin will not play the first Test match, but the rest of the matches he will play. That much
okay,
I will say.
maybe that's fine. That's fine. I would not
Yeah.
see.
I was about, yeah.
I would agree with that because Gaba, seam friendly
It's
conditions.
very, very seeming. Yeah.
That reason. That's the
Us.
only
Yeah.
reason why I dropped Ashwin.
Okay, you don't
That's
need
the
to bring
only
that up
reason.
every time, Prithvi.
I
Just
know.
stop it. I know I'm in Brisbane. Come on, bro.
No, no, no. I'm not. No, I was not about to say that, dude. I was about to say something else. I was about to say that Radrit said what I was going to say. I was going to say the exact same thing. I would say that the very first match, Ashwin won't play. I would actually think, knowing Kohli will probably bring Siraj ahead of Ishant Sharma. So what I think is for the very first match, it will be Jadeja, Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj for the bowlers. Then for the remaining, wait a second. Did I miss
The
anybody?
fifth bowler.
Uh,
Yeah.
You're missing
Fifth
the fifth
bowler,
bowler, bro.
yeah.
You're
I'm
missing the
missing a fifth
fifth
bowler.
bowler,
Sorry.
man.
Yeah, fifth bowler.
Exactly.
Bumrah, Siraj, Shami, Ashwin, and Jadeja. Yeah, I'm sorry. Uh, there's 115 here, man.
Ashwin.
I am sleepy. Uh,
I can
so so
understand.
that wait, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. What was your bowling lineup for the very first GABA test? I'm sorry. Say again, Ajit.
For me, it's Bumrah, Shami, Ishant Sharma, Siraj, and then Jadeja.
You're going with 5
What about you?
bowlers, huh? Yeah,
What
I
about
would
you,
say for
Adrit?
the same thing as yours for the GABA. The same thing as yours for
My
GABA.
test match, my bowling lineup will be the same except one change that instead of Mohammad Siraj, instead of Ashwin, I'll go with Mohammad Siraj just purely on the condition
So
yesterday I went with.
none of us are picking
Because what?
Ashwin for
Because
the
we
first
No,
picked
no,
the
match.
same. We all 3 of us
We
have the
all
same
came.
bowling lineup then.
no. I went with Mohammad Siraj. I went with Mohammad Siraj. The first
We are
test
Yeah,
all
match,
even
I
going
I
went
did
with
with
the
Mohammad
Mohammad
same.
Siraj.
Mohammad Saraf.
Even I did the same for
Yeah,
Gaba. You're saying for I
With
said
GABA.
Gaba.
a standard playing 11 for India will be Ashwin Jadeja and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bumrah Shami Nishant
Yeah, yeah,
Sharma,
yeah.
just a standard one. I'm talking about in general, but depending on conditions, it will vary. So for Gaba, I would not play Ashwin. I would play Siraj, like you said. So we all 3 have
Yeah,
the same bowling attack for Gaba.
same thing. Point. Yeah, let's
Same,
go.
same, same, same. Oh, okay. Let's go with the result. Let's go with the result and the prediction.
Australia,
What do you think?
Australia, straight away. No, nothing else to
Yeah,
say. It's Gaba.
yes,
It's
Nothing else is
even though the fortress in the recent times has been breached twice, but this is peak Australia you're talking about, bro. Especially during the peak time,
exactly.
Gaba.
when was the
Uh,
second time? I forgot.
India first did that, and then West Indies did that recently. Shamar
Shamar Joseph.
Joseph.
Oh, I'm so
Shamar
sorry.
So
Okay,
Joseph.
go on.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
Joseph. Yeah,
Shamar
see, this
Joseph.
is peak Australian team in Gaba. No way they're gonna lose.
no chance.
Australia
They
will
can't
win the
lose.
match. End of story. You don't need
I
to do
agree.
comparisons of who's gonna do with and we don't need to go inside into it. Straight away, I'm gonna go Australia winning it. maybe a draw is possible,
I
but I
would
don't see
say
a scenario where India will win, even with the quality of Indian side. I don't see a scenario where Australia will lose to India in Gabba, especially that strong of an Australian team. Simple as that. Australia will
here's
win.
what I think.
End of story.
Here's what I think. I think this match will get over in 4 days' time, maybe even to 3.5 days' time. I think it's going to be a huge disastrous batting display for our team because when you go to a foreign place to tour in senior countries and you're hit with a very fast and bouncy wicket against such a high quality team in their so-called fortress. I'm not so-called. It is a fortress. I I think it's going to be a huge batting disaster for India. We might even see stuff like that 36 all out and stuff. It's going to be really bad for us. It's going to get over in 4 days and
I
be a
know where you're
huge
going
victory
with
for us. Yeah.
Prithvi. I
I
know where you're
don't
going
see
with
that
this, Prithvi.
happening.
No, I
I
think it
understand
will
where you're
do
going with
it
that, but
because even under the prime, even this prime team, like I said, the India in a test series, they take time to settle down. They're the most vulnerable in the very first match of a series. And this Ricky Ponting is going to like know it. He's going to sledge people. He's going to frighten up the batters. This is like the mightiest of the mighty in the strongest place. So I think it's going to be a disastrous batting. I predict it probably get over in 3 4 days. India will probably fail to make even half the runs that Australia makes. It'll be a huge victory for Australia.
I agree. I agree
That's
with
what
you.
I
I
think.
think it will be Australia.
Huge
I
victory for
will
Australia.
be.
Big
it
victory
is
for
going to be
I
Australia.
Australia,
believe
They'll
but
destroy the
not a
Indian
big
batting
it will
lineup.
be
disaster. Not a big disaster, what
Mm,
Prithvi's saying, but I'll give the edge to
mm.
Australia. No doubt. It's
I'll give
easy
that.
as it is.
I think one thing for India, I would say, is that the bowling lineup will do well, and I believe that
Yeah.
Bumrah will do
But
well.
really, yeah,
Bumrah
yeah.
will do, and Bumrah and Siraj will do well. Siraj has a
Yeah.
five
Hmm.
wicket haul in Gabba. I believe
I think
Siraj
Yes.
will
so.
do well. So I
Yeah.
think we
I
all,
think.
I think India will do well. We all agree upon
Yeah.
it's India. So let's go with the second Test
But
match, which is
anything,
in
yeah, yeah,
Adelaide.
yeah.
It's in
Adelaide.
Adelaide. Do you before that? Do you want a day-night Test match with the pink ball, or you want the normal Test match with the red ball? What do you guys
Day
think?
night.
Do you want the
Normal,
pink
Day
ball?
night.
normal,
It'll be
normal,
fun. Day
normal
night.
match for me.
Fine,
Normal
okay,
match
so
for me
normal.
Normal.
That's so normal.
because none
Normal.
of them, because the prime Australian team have
None
never
of them
played
have
with a
played under.
pink ball, so it's very unfair
Right.
to
You
judge
know
on
what?
that. So
Let's go with the normal one. And as we know, from here on, it will be the standard Indian bowling lineup with Ashwin coming in instead
Just
of
confirm.
Mohammad Siraj. The rest of the team will not be changed.
I would say Ashwin should come in the place of Vishwan Sharma. Mohammad Siraj with his extra the
mm,
pace can be the great option. I'd say probably bring Ashwin in the place to Vishwan Sharma because Siraj can Bumrah and Shami have pace, but Siraj he has expressed the pace. He's the fastest bowler, I think. Assuming you don't count Bumrah's like Yorkers, but I think Siraj with his ability to seam the ball away and still bowl full lengths and get us the slight amount of the movement too would be a better option than Ishan Sharma. What do you guys think?
One point. I do see your point, but then it's not going to
Hmm.
happen knowing what Virat Kohli does. The reason why I say is that Ishan Sharma has a good record in Australia. We all know that, and this will be the theme. Ishan Sharma versus Ricky Ponting, and Ishan Sharma will make
And the Waka.
Ricky Ponting dance a lot. Will make Ricky Ponting dance a lot.
I
He
don't.
will
I
make
wanted
You know.
I wanted a match with Waka just for this competition. Ishant
no,
and
in any
In
condition,
any
Ishan
condition,
Sharma
bro.
will do well. His height
no,
and
but in
bounce
that Waka thing
is
was
the
so good.
reason
Yeah.
why. No, his height and bounce is the reason why we pick him. That's why I picked. And plus another thing that Mohammad Siraj, uh, if he doesn't get his line and run right, he goes for a lot of runs. And Ishan Sharma brings in a bit of a control, which is what we need in one bowler. One bowler will bring a bit of a control, which is why I
So,
went with
so we'll go with
Ishan
Ishant
Sharma.
Sharma. Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah, I
Same
believe yes.
here.
I
Go
think
Ishant.
Ashwin replacing Siraj. Okay, I'll go first. This match is where you're
yeah,
gonna see a bit of an even contest. Especially with the bat, because Adelaide in general is a good place to bat.
Starting with
I mean, if you don't want to count the pink ball test match,
No, no,
which
no.
was
That was
a
not
huge
fair.
disaster. But it will be unfair to judge that team with the pink ball, because they have never played a pink ball test match. That Australian team, so it's going to be unfair. But regardless of that, I'm going to go that it's going to be an even contest with bat and ball. I think India and Australia, their batting sides will really come into the picture, especially Langer and Hayden. They will really, make a good impression on this match. Ricky Ponting, in these kind of surfaces in Adelaide or in Melbourne, which we will talk about, has phenomenal record. If you look at it, especially the double back-to-back double hundreds he had in 2003 against India. So I think the whole batting lineup will really cause a big problem. I think this will be a high-scoring venue for both the teams will score in excesses of 400. With the contest going to day 5, because there's no way that a test match with both the teams scoring excess of 400 will have a test match
Yeah.
within 4 days getting ended. So I think it will go till day 5.
Unless you play
Me
the
personally,
last ball.
I believe not the last ball, but maybe just in the third
I said
session, in the
the
middle of
last
the
ball.
third session.
No, I said
Okay,
the last
okay,
ball. Okay, go on.
I
Sorry.
would.
It's a joke. A joke. Yeah.
Okay,
Go
that's
on.
no, that's fine. I understand where you're going with that.
Mm.
But with that being said, I think even with the quality of the bowling, I think Bumrah and Ashwin will really,
Bumrah
with
and Ashwin.
even with the slightest of an advantage, I think they will exploit to get the batting lineup
Mm-hmm.
of Australia, especially when Australia will bat in the second innings. With Ashwin against his track record against left-handers, and Bumrah with the way he will
Yes.
especially him against left-handers with that sling action of Bumrah, man. I think with
Yeah,
the
sling
slight
on left.
advantage of conditions in Australia, Bumrah will exploit and try to cause trouble for Hayden and Langer, especially
Yeah.
even Ricky Ponting also. Let's not forget that Ricky Ponting's like Ishan Sharma when he was young, he had that the
Mm.
way he would nip back the ball into Ricky
Nip
Ponting.
back the
Bumrah
ball. Yeah,
will
nip
do
it
the
back.
same.
Yeah.
He is going to
Yeah,
really rip
exactly.
it in
Exactly.
and get
Some.
that nip back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Shami will do just
Some.
fine. It's not that
I
he's going to.
think the nip back. Yeah. Uh, can I
I'll finish it off.
just say something
Prithvi,
about?
I'll finish it
Yeah.
off.
Go on. Go on. Yeah. Yeah, go on. Go on.
So with that being said, I think Kohli, man, with the batting of Kohli, first innings, Virat Kohli in Adelaide, the love affair of Virat Kohli in Adelaide, he will
Mhm.
really, he will really step up in Adelaide
I
with
was
the
about
three
to come
hundreds he
there.
has
I
Mhm.
was about to come the Kohli factor in Australia. I was about to come there in the Kohli
Yeah.
in
factor.
Adelaide,
You
in
really
That's
Adelaide,
when we see
in
the
specifically
in
in
Adelaide. That's
Adelaide.
what that was
Ireland
in
love
Adelaide.
affair. Yeah.
That's what I was about to come to that.
Yeah.
The phenomenal track
Right.
record he has in
So
Adelaide. Let's not forget he made his first ever Test match century in Adelaide,
in
and the twin
Australia. Yeah.
hundreds he had against Australia, especially that the one in the second innings was actually much better than the first one. If you look at
Mm.
it in terms of how difficult the conditions was in day 5. For me personally,
Yeah.
one of my favorite hundreds was the first innings hundred he had. I think it was day 2 because when he got hit with a bouncer against Mitchell Johnson, and then he went on to smash that century in first
Yeah.
innings. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
favorite one. But the more difficult one was the second innings, which it was turning. Nathan Lyon was really causing trouble. Vijay
Yeah.
and Kohli were really, taking over the whole match
Unbelievable.
until Vijay got out on 99, and then it was a collapse
Mm.
altogether. But Virat Kohli was really,
Yeah.
that close to to single-handedly win the game for India. So with that, I think
Hmm.
Kohli will really will really trouble the Australian bowlers, especially the aggression which he will bring against McGrath, Brett Lee, and Jason Gillespie, and Shane Warne. It's going to be a
Yeah.
mouth-watering
Very
contest
aggressive.
in
Not what
Adelaide.
I
I
want
think
to
it will
say.
be a very good
Absolutely.
test match. I
Yeah.
will give the slight edge to India in this one.
Me too.
I
Me
think
too. Me
they
too.
will
Yeah.
do well in Adelaide. I think it will suit their playing 11 in I think especially in Adelaide. If you do, we don't want to count the pink ball match. We'll just go with the normal match, and I would give it to India because I think
Hmm.
with the little bit of an advantage, I think India will find a way to dictate
To
the
win the
outcome
match.
in the
Mm.
second innings with their bowling against the Australian playing 11. I think India will have the edge, in my opinion. What do you
Yeah.
guys think?
Yeah. I think the most. First of all, I'll just say that the one bowler who's probably going to get Michael Lassie out in both the innings is going to be to Bumrah. Because why I say this is because Bumrah is probably the closest bowler there is to the Dale Steyn. Dale Steyn always the trouble to Michael Hussey. When you have the bowler with with pace and outswing, that's the thing that troubles Michael Hussey the most. So I think Bumrah will probably be the bowler who gets Michael Hussey out in both the innings, and we're probably going to not just the Kohli coming to the batting. I think not just Kohli, we're probably going to see the Pujara come up
Hmm.
and notch a good the century. Either
That's a
him
point.
or Rahane, because Rahane and Pujara they often they step in at these kind of crucial matches or crucial innings. So maybe the Pujara gets going, he takes it deep, he gets hit by those fast bowlers, but he holds on to his end. He frustrates the Australians, and he might go on to make the 100, or we can even have I think Rahane with Kohli on the other end, they can hold on to the crease for long. Kohli is gonna have the day at the field, like he's gonna go on. He's gonna be the challenge the Aussies. He's gonna take them on. But I think the standout bowler for India will be Ashwin, because see, Ashwin, you look at the bowlers from India who took the highest amount of wickets against Australia when the Indian team toured this Australian team. It was Harbhajan Singh and Pranil Kumble. Both of these were spin bowlers, and I think Ashwin brings in the qualities of both these bowlers to with him. He can get to flight like how Harbhajan Singh does. He can even have the pace like how Pranil Kumble has. So I think Ashwin will be able to dismantle much of the Australian batting, and even that he is entering in the second match of the series, the Aussies haven't had much of an exposure to playing him. I think uh, Ashwin can be a real X factor for India, and Bumrah, of course, with his reverse, with his expressed pace and with his outswingers, he's going to definitely the trouble to Michael Hussey. Uh, Ishant Sharma will probably be successful against the Ricky Ponting. The one thing that I am worried about India is the batting, because in this condition you have like come on, yeah. Bumrah, Siraj, Shami, and Ashwin, and Jadeja. These guys are going to, they'll surely be able to pick up the 40 wickets or 20 wickets. I have no doubt about that. The only thing that I am concerned about is India's batting, which I think if Kohli will step up, I think there's going to be a show from to, uh, to Pujara. I think there'll also be a show from either Rishabh Pant or Ravindra Jadeja. These two from the bottom, from the middle order, will also step up. And assuming we get good contributions from Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, assuming we avoid the collapse. Okay, let me bring this thing in just one condition. Assuming the Indian batting avoids the collapse, I think India is going to take this match.
I agree with all the points that India will win. I believe that Rohit Sharma will step us. So I just we all just purely on this factor that the ground size is very small, and with this pull shots and the
It's going to be big.
wicket is it's kind of big. But then Rohit Sharma, the kind of player he is, he can really destroy the bowling. And I believe he will
Okay.
step up. Pujara will step up. I believe Pujara will step up. I think the 2018 Test match in Adelaide, Pujara was the one who stepped up. Kohli, as usual, we all know. I mean, we don't have to say much. His record in Adelaide is second to none. As far as the Australia batting lineup is concerned, that I believe Michael Hussey would be a key player, key factor. He'll be the kingpin of the batting lineup for Australia. He will step up when it matters the most because he has a great
And
record in
Ricky
Adelaide.
Ponting. And Ricky
Ricky Ponting,
Ponting.
yes, Ricky Ponting will step up. You might see Justin getting a finger injury. So that much I can tell. That much I can guarantee you.
Is with Bumrah.
Gilly, will
Who
Bumrah,
was that
yes.
injury? It was by Ntini, right? He got finger injury.
Harmison. I think it was Harmison or Intini.
Hamilton, yes.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
sorry.
say so.
Ntini like hit him
Yeah,
on the head. So
Yeah, so I would say that much. Matthew Hayden will have a very ordinary test match. He might score 20, 30 runs, but he will not score. As far as India bowling is concerned, Ashwin will be key, as you guys touched upon. I don't want to mention much. Bumrah will touch the point, and Jadeja might have an off day. As far as Australia bowling lineup is concerned, I think Bretley will be huge key. Bretley and
Hmm.
Jason Gillespie, because McGrath,
Maharashtra,
with that sort of a wicket, and the kind of batting lineup India has got, I think McGrath might have an off day, an off test match,
I
which
digress
is
on that, but go ahead.
and uh, because Bretley, man, the kind of pace and the reverse swing which he has, man, he will trouble the bat. And same with Jason Gillespie. So it would be a very close test match. If India bats in the fourth innings, I think with the Rishabh Pant factor coming in, I think India will have an edge. I think we all agree that India will win the second test match and it'll be 1-on, and we'll go into the third test match in Melbourne, where it's going to be a very tricky match, and the playing level will be the same, except the fact that Justin Langer will be in the hospital with his finger injury. We may not know.
I mean,
So
I don't know why you have
you
to
went
cap
to the
on him like
hospital.
that, but
I know, I'm just saying that. So yeah, what do you guys think, man? What do you guys think about the test match in Melbourne?
I'll go first.
Sure.
I'll go
You go
First,
first.
first,
Jasper.
Ajit.
I think Australia will win this one because, and I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
Similar to what we mentioned about Gabba, I think there's another fortress that Australia would have where it's going to be a big match feeling, and I think Australia will feel like they are a superior side in Melbourne. And I feel that with the third test match, it's going to be a very, very good match. And I'll tell this as well. Because similar to Adelaide, I think Melbourne will also be a good one. Because India, in the recent times, especially the two test matches they have played in Melbourne, India have won in the recent times in 2018 and in 2021. I mean, 2020, sorry. So
Yeah, good.
I feel that India and Australia will have a good match. But Australia, that
Post
peak
match.
Australian team in Melbourne have done
Hmm.
really well, similar to what they've done in Gabba. Melbourne is going to be that India will have the edge on in terms of running between the wickets and really finding a way to get runs in bunches. Considering you have Kohli and considering you have Virat Kohli in there, I think Virat Kohli will also have another good match in Melbourne. He's going to really give his own imprint in the match because Melbourne is that stadium where it's going to be a big match feeling with big crowd. It's going to be a spectacle to watch, and it's going to be that
Boxing
big
Day
of a.
test. Yeah.
It's going to be a marquee. It's going to be that marquee match feeling. Especially this is that highlight of the Border Gavaskar Trophy series in Australia, where you're going to how they're
Hmm.
going to see how you're going to see that how the match will turn out in Melbourne because of that big venue that it is. Virat Kohli will really come into the picture with his the way he manipulates the field and just finds gaps to run, and him Rahane would be there, and potentially have KL Rahul or Rohit Sharma just stepping in. Kohli will again show his imprint in this match. Rohit Sharma, yeah, he would, but I think it's going to be this. I think this batting lineup will mostly be carried by Kohli, and the reason why the rest of them will find a bit of a struggle because of the bowling. Shane Warne in Melbourne, that's
Shane
his
Warne.
home
Yeah,
ground. He is
yeah.
really going to give his
He
own
is going.
impact in it.
I'm
He
gonna
will
say that.
really
Yeah.
come in
I'm gonna
good.
say that.
And with the bowling lineup, man, McGrath will probably be the best bowler of the series. Maybe he might edge out Bumrah, but the outcome of the final Test match would differ as well. But I think we'll get on to the Sydney. But Melbourne, I feel like India, their batting kind of they might struggle a bit. Although Virat Kohli will carry the batting lineup for them. Rahane might be the close second for India in Melbourne because Rahane has had a good record in Melbourne. He won a test match as a captain for India in that very venue with that match winning
Yeah.
100 he
Yeah.
had in the
Yeah.
first innings, and also the partnership he had with Virat Kohli in Melbourne in 2014. So I think Kohli and Rahane will have their imprint on it. Rishabh Pant will
Hmm.
do what Rishabh Pant does best, just antagonize, will really cause some. His shenanigans in that series will really, will rile up
Anger the
Australia
Australians.
like crazy. So, but with that being said, Australia in Melbourne have had a good track record. Ricky Ponting will really have a huge role in that match in Melbourne, like how he did similar to what he did in 2003 against that Indian team. Hayden, Hayden, of course, will step up big time. That's also one of his favorite venues. So I would say that Australia will have the edge, man. Especially Shane Warne in Melbourne will really do well. And the rest of the bowling lineup for Australia, it is how it is, and I feel like they'll have an edge against India in that match. So, what do you guys
Yeah,
think?
I think this match will be a close match. I think I probably see Rishabh Pant put on a big show because I think this wicket will suit him too, slightly more on the slower side. I think this wicket will suit him. It'll be good to see if he can sweep Shane Warne. I don't think he'll be able to do that, but he might be able to do it a couple of times. Um, what's going to happen? I think it's going to be like Ajit said. I think it's going to be the victory for Australia. I think we'll be seeing the mighty Shane Warne wake up in this match. He'll probably pick up a lot of the wickets, and I think his counterpart in India, Ashwin too, will have a will pick up the most wickets for India. Not much I can say about this match. It may go up deep if Kohli bats long and gets more runs. Maybe Rahane also could hold on to the crease for long. But I think it will probably come down to a slow but sure victory for Australia.
I would say that it would be an India victory, and I say that is
Okay.
because of the fact that
Yeah.
as far as the batting front is concerned, that because it's the marquee match, it's the boxing day test, and that's where events like these will bring the best out of Kohli. And I would like to see Virat Kohli and Glenn McGrath having a sledge of the other, or Shane Warne.
Yeah,
It would be
Mhm.
crazy, and this kind of
Yeah.
situation will pump up Kohli the most.
I don't know.
And
Yeah.
he and especially Rahane both will have a sensational match. They will rip Australia apart. They will, especially with Kohli and the way he can influence the opposition with that psyche. He will destroy the morale, and I feel KL Rao will have a field day as a batsman as well. Uh, and as far as the Australia batting is concerned, Ricky Ponting will step up, and I have a feeling that Gilchrist, man, he will step
yeah.
up. He will
It's
step up
either
because
Hayden or Gilchrist,
Gilchrist,
man. Yeah,
Hayden and I go with Gilchrist, man, just purely because of the fact that he might have a two off matches and he is due on a big score. So I believe that Gilchrist will step up.
I agree
As
with
far as
you.
the bowling front,
Yeah.
as far as the bowling front is concerned, as far as India is concerned, that Bumrah at that record in Melbourne, I think he will step up when it matters more, and I believe that he will dance Justin Langer the most, and he will hurt Justin Langer and will ruin his life. But he will ruin Michael Clark's life as well because Michael Clark is susceptible to short ball. Shami will bounce him as well, and both Justin Langer and Matthew and Michael Clark will have a finger injury and they will be out for the next test match. And that's why India will win the series. Will be three
I don't know
one.
why you're just
My own
crapping on
prediction.
them, bro. Come on, man.
I I
Why do
know.
you want to do that? Why do you
What
want
is
to
it with
wish
you
on
and
them
his
like
finger,
that?
bro?
What is with
I
you and
want.
finger injuries on those two people, bro? Especially Justin
Yeah.
Langer. Why do you want to do that?
What do you
Come
hate
on, man.
about his finger?
Okay,
Yeah.
I will.
Why do you want to break
I
his finger
okay.
so
As
much?
far as if you want to go with India's front now, I think Bretley will have a huge say and McGrath will have a huge say because McGrath will injured Pujara, like how Pat
Pujara,
Cummins
yeah.
did to Pujara. Bretley
Yes,
is
yes,
he will more
yes.
faster. He will have a huge say. So I will go with it will be a close test, but I'll give a slight edge to India just because of the Bumrah, the Shami factor and the Ashwin factor. I just have a feeling that India will edge. But since I've been outvoted as usual, where it will be 2-1 to Australia. So we're going to the fourth test
Yeah.
match, the final test match. Prithvi, you
Just
said
one
you
sec.
want to
Yeah,
leave.
yeah.
Why?
I got a drop, guys. It's 1:45. I'm sleepy as hell. Got work tomorrow as
That's all
well.
right,
But
man.
it's been
Okay,
great. Let me know what the outcome is of this discussion. Okay. Next
yeah,
time,
yeah, sure,
next
sure.
time, try to start about 1 hour early so that I can share to the end because it's
We'll
too
do
late
that.
now.
That's
Okay.
all good,
We'll
bro.
plan it out.
It's all
See
good, bro.
you.
You
See
go
you.
to sleep.
That was a good
See you
time, bro.
soon, and bye, bro.
Okay. See you soon.
See you
Bye.
soon.
Yeah,
Bye.
in Sydney.
It will be a final
So,
one.
okay, I'll go with the Sydney. I'll give the edge to India, and we'll see a draw series in Australia. We're going to see 2-2. It's going to be a draw. I'm going to give the edge to India for this one because the conditions will suit India. It's a bit one of the flattest wickets, I would say, but also suitable for spinners. Similar to Adelaide, I think, but Sydney will offer a bit more spin. It's going to be a bit more spin friendly. I think India with Ashwin and Jadeja, there is a chance that they might bring in Kuldeep. They might do that by replacing Ishan Sharma and bring in three spinners in Sydney because of that. But I would stick with the formidable attack with Ishan Shami, Bumrah, Ashwin, Jadeja. And with the spin conditions, man, I think India will win this one. It's Sydney, the final test match where both teams are now having used to the conditions, especially India right now in the final match. I think the deeper as the series goes, I think India will really get a good used to how the series is and how the conditions are. Sydney, I think KL Rahul will really step up in Sydney a lot more because I think his record in Sydney is good. And Rohit Sharma also in Sydney has been good.
Yes. Yes,
I
but
think the match will be a high scoring match like how it is in Adelaide. Not much how it is Melbourne. Melbourne might be a bit more like Australia will score a bit more high, but India will have a bit of a struggle. But like Adelaide, I think Sydney will be a high scoring venue because India in Sydney have done really well over the years if you look at it. So I would give the edge to India with the spin friendly conditions. Kohli, Pujara, Rahane, not much Rahane, but Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Pujara, Kohli, Rishabh Pant, and maybe Jadeja. Those five people, especially Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Rahul, Kohli, Rahane, and Rishabh Pant, those five players will really have a big impact. They might score big. So will Australia. I think it's going to be runs galore. 4 days of extravagant cricket where you'll see two teams really punch for punch, one shot for shot. They'll score a lot of runs at a high rate because both the teams can go aggressive. If you look at it, especially Australia, will go aggressive. They'll score so much runs in very few overs with the high run rate. I think they'll score at 3.5 to 4 runs an over. And if you look at it, if they bat like for 1.5 days, they can easily score like 550. But India will also counter that as well and score 500 as well because Sydney is not that, uh, you know, that kind of a wicket which will break down. But you will see spin getting coming into the picture. I think India and Australia will score like around 500 runs more. I think Australia slightly more because if India bats first, India will score more. And if Australia bats first, Australia will score more. So it depends on that. But I feel like regardless of that, it will be an excess of 500 or maybe 600 run feast. But going down to the wire with day four, I think for sure it will enter day five. And I don't see a scenario where it will end in 4 days. There's no way that's happening. I think the spinners will really come into picture. Ashwin and Jadeja. Um, if
Shane
you're going to
Warne
pick
might come into the picture.
Kuldeep Yadav, then I think India will definitely wrap this up and make this a quick run chase. But I'll just stick with the standard playing 11 and go with the
Stays.
three
Yeah,
seamers
yeah.
and three seamers and two spinners. Even with that, Ashwin and Jadeja will really have his imprint on it, and I think that India will edge them out and win the series. I mean, not win the series, win the match and draw the series. For Australia is concerned, we'll see a good show from Michael Clark because let's not forget that he ripped, decimated, and destroyed India in the test match, and he scored his career best
Triple century.
329 runs.
329
runs. And Hussey as well will really step up. And so Michael Clark, Hussey, those two batsmen will really rip them apart when Australia bats first. Of course, not just those two, but the whole batting order will really have their say. As far as bowling is concerned for Australia, Shane Warne will really have a good imprint when he's going to bowl in the second innings because it's spin friendly, and Michael Clark might also roll in some few overs here. Glenn McGrath, that's his home ground, so I don't see a scenario where Glenn McGrath will not perform in Sydney because that's his home ground. Brett Lee, similar, it's his home ground as well, so Brett Lee will have his imprint in that match. Jason Gillespie will also step up a bit here, but I think McGrath, Brett Lee, Shane Warne with the spinner, with that spin friendly nature, which will go on from day 4 or day 5. Australia will have their say as well. It's going to be a good match, not a close match like how it is in Adelaide or maybe in Melbourne, like how Prithvi was saying not a while ago. But I think India will edge this match, and like I said, it will be a draw. What do you think?
First of all, Justin Langer will somehow recover from the hospital with his
Okay, at
injury,
least that's something
and
positive.
that's something positive. And I'll go further than that. That I think he will have a good match. Surely because of the fact that I think he's a good player. He's a pretty decent player. Spin. I think he will sweep the ball pretty well. I think he will score runs. As far as Australia is concerned, Michael Clark, as you said, you don't have to mention him. He's probably one of the great players of spin of that team, and Gilchrist will have another field day. Man. He will smash Jadeja's psyche into concern, and Jadeja will have a nightmare. So I would say Gilchrist will step up. And the bowling front for Australia is concerned, I feel I think McGrath again with the quality with McGrath has got. I think its tenacity, with his pinpoint metronomical accuracy is concerned. I think he will have a huge say in it. Brett Lee, yes, he will have a huge say in it with his home ground. He knows the condition pretty well. Shane Warne, I think, will be a key factor, considering the fact that the wicket is favoring the spinners, and I believe that Michael Clark will be a out of syllabus kind of a bowler. He will step up, and he picked up 3 wickets in 3 balls against India. Not 3 wickets in 3 balls against India in that Sydney Test match in 2008, the famous Test match with that
Yeah.
monkey.
I remember that.
The monkey gate has happened. I think he will play a huge role. So I believe
Yeah.
that's what Australia is. As far as India is concerned, that I think it would be a Rishabh Pant show, man. I don't see anyone other than Rishabh Pant will stepping up the man when it matters the most. Rishabh Pant and Jadeja will step up when it matters the most. Ashwin will score runs. On that condition, I think Ashwin will score runs. As far as top order is concerned, I think KL Rahul will step up because, as you said, that it is debut test match, debut century, he scored runs. Rohit Sharma will get out in the pull shot. That will be the standard way of getting out with Rohit
Pujara and
Sharma.
Kohli. What about Pujara and Kohli?
I believe that Kohli will score runs, but not as what we expect. I think Pujara will step up. I think it would be a KL Rahul, Pujara, Rishabh Pant, and Jadeja, and Ashwin with his cameos. I think these are the 4. Kohli will score, but then not as much as you expect. But Rohit Sharma, as I said, he will get dispensed playing these wild pull shots. That is his usual habit. And India's bowling is concerned, I think Ashwin, as usual, we all know, keep repeating the same thing. He's the key factor for India as far as winning test matches in winning test series is concerned, especially in Australia. I think he'll be a key factor. Jadeja will step up. I have a feeling that Jadeja will step up more than Ashwin because Jadeja had a very quiet test series. We haven't talked enough about him as far as the bowling front is concerned, but I believe in this test match, in this wicket, I think Jadeja will step up when it matters the most. I believe that Mohammad Shami will step up. I think Mohammad Shami will step up. Surely on the
I agree.
basis of the fact that because of the fact that the pitches will wear down a bit more, and with his pinpoint accuracy bowling, and the ball will start to pitch low, will have a low bounce. I think Shami will be very effective. So I think Shami will have a huge. I think India will have an edge. I think India will win the match, and they'll win the Test series 3-1 against the mighty Australians.
Oh.
It might be, yes, I know. It's a very, I know that I know the third Test match I said India will win. But I genuinely believe that India would have it will be a close contest. But I seriously feel this with this Indian team, the character which India has got, something which this Indian team has, the character which Kohli brings. I think it will push India to play the best. And of course Australia with their at their home ground will will do well. They will do well. They will not give India that fight. They will give that fight. I seriously feel this Indian team, the number of times India has stepped up when it matters the most. Let's not forget that the 2020, 2021 we won a Test series with the depleted squad. That's how far
I
the
agree with that, but
mentality
I agree with that.
because
But
even though Virat Kohli is not there, but the imprint which he has on this team will that fighting spirit will edge India. Yes, Australia has
I
the
understand your
fighting.
point. I understand
Yeah,
your point. Yes.
because Australia with the prime Australian team we're talking about the prime Australian team. They are brilliant. I have no doubts about that. They will give India the fight. It's not going to be easy. But I just feel that India with Virat Kohli, right, it will elevate the players to perform the extra. That is what you require. With Kohli, he's a very demanding captain. He's very demanding. Kohli and Shatri are very demanding as far as their approach is concerned. They will push players to perform to the limits. I would say
I agree
India.
with you.
I would say India
Okay,
will win the.
okay, so 3-1 against that prime Australian team is a big thing to say, which I commend you for saying that. It's a bit of a hot take I personally think, because I don't see a scenario where that will happen, bro. But I will give you this. That Australian team, as dominant as they are, they haven't faced a juggernaut like what India is. The closest that they have faced is South Africa, especially a team
Yes.
as equally strong in terms of their squad or the playing 11. But this team, they may not be as strong as the mighty South Africans. I'm talking about India, of course. They may not be as strong as the mighty South Africans in their prime, but their mentality that really edges out the intangibles that Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri will show. That will step up. That will really show out the most, and that will be the biggest challenge that that prime Australian team will ever face, as far as I'm concerned, because they've never faced that kind of a challenge. Yes, they've lost Test series in India. Of course, that is bound to happen. No team has had great record in India. Let's face that. I'm talking about teams from the SENA countries, as far as
Yes.
that's concerned. But
Yes. Yes.
and that will be the biggest challenge. So I understand where you're going with it, but I don't see a scenario where that Australian team will lose a Test series at home. That is why I said that they will win matches in Brisbane and in Melbourne, because those two are like the
Mm.
fortress of that Australian team. That's been their stomping grounds. Yes,
Yeah,
Adelaide will
I
be
do
a bit of
agree
a
with you.
problem for them, and Sydney as well, because that will favor
I
India.
do agree with you.
Yes, you're right about Melbourne. With India had a good track record recently. They've won two Test matches that they've played in
That's
Melbourne.
what that's the edge. That's the edge why I gave in India the edge. But it will be a very
I
close
understand where
test
you're
match.
going with that. And also, they
Yeah.
drew the match in Melbourne as well. If you look at it, when Dhoni came in the middle of the series in 2015, and India
Uh,
drew the Test match in Melbourne. So I agree with you on that track record recent times. But that team, that Australian team in Melbourne, I don't see a situation where they'll lose that match. I think they'll figure a way out to win, man, especially with that team.
I
That's why
agree
I
with
gave
you.
Australia the edge to
I know.
as
I do
that's the
agree with
reason
you.
why I
I
gave
do have.
Australia the edge for them in Melbourne. That's why Gabba, we don't need to discuss much. Australia will really bounce them out.
They will.
Gabba, I mean, come on. I'm living here in Brisbane. I
I,
worked in the Gabba
I know, I
Stadium
know.
as well. I've seen how it
No,
is.
but
So
what I'm saying, what I feel, the reason why I say India, it's the flat wicket. It's also a flat and drop in wickets, where it's a very even wicket for both the teams, and it would be a bit of a run fest, but the quality of bowling would be there. Just the feel that India is the tenacity which India brings in. I
I
just
agree
feel
with
that.
that. No, that is
I
why I
do,
said that
but
that would be the biggest challenge for the Australian team, is that because no team has brought in that intensity that what India would bring. Because
exactly that
the
is why.
in terms of depth and squad, obviously they're not better than that mighty South Africans, because they've always had the edge in Australia. So in that way, I might not give that to India. But in what India has is the leadership, the intangibles, and how contagious that mindset and that intensity what Virat Kohli will bring. And so, I mean, we've discussed match by match how it will go. But if I want to bring in the overalls, and what you definitely expect is bowling sides, those two bowling sides going against each other, punch for punch, blow for blow, is going to be a mighty contest in Australia, and the batting order as well. And Bumrah will absolutely play circles around the left-handers of Australia, man. Gilchrist, Hayden, Langer, Hussey. Bumrah will really have his field day. He's going to really rip them apart, man.
I
When
would say
it's his
especially
time
Justin,
and when its conditions are suiting him.
especially by that time at the end of the Test series, now Justin Langer would have two surgeries in his fingers.
I
That's what I
mean,
would say.
come on, bro. Okay, you really need to stop with that. Seriously, something's clearly wrong with you. You're just wishing something upon him, man. Come on, man. That's not
Bro,
good.
it's bro.
Seriously.
I find him very annoying, bro. I can't help it, man. As much as I respect Justin Langer, the player is concerned, I just easily hate him, man. So such an annoying coach. Just
I mean,
pisses me off
okay,
a bit.
okay, okay. I understand why it is, but seriously, you need to stop with that. But I think Hayden will really have a bit of a problem in
Aiden will
the
do.
series. Hayden would do well given the conditions in Melbourne and Brisbane. Brisbane, of course, that's his home ground, so I can give that. But overall, in the series, man, I think with the matches in Melbourne, I mean, in Adelaide and Sydney, I mean, Bumrah will, I think, he would really have an advantage against left-handers, especially with his action, that this angle he'll create. Since Hayden is that notorious player that he would play within a box, within a lane or a zone where whichever deliveries would come in that zone, he would try to hit. If it's out of his zone, he will leave it. So that's the technique that he's mastered. But Bumrah within that zone is also dangerous. So I think Bumrah will
It'll be a
really get him out
contest.
with even with his strengths. So Bumrah will really have a field day in that series. Will have an advantage against left-handers, similar to Ashwin. Shami and Ishan Sharma will really have that edge in that bowling lineup. They'll cause Australia problems. But like I said, man, it will be a contest amongst bowlers, punch for punch, blow for blow, and of course, Virat Kohli versus Ricky Ponting. The sledging that they'll just bring in, the intensity that
They
those
will
two players
slack.
will bring in, it is going to be an opera, a cinema, a spectacle to watch. That is going to be
It'll be,
amazing because with the intensity they'll bring in, there is a chance that you might see them just really punch each other for real. Not with just
of
verbally,
course.
but
I
they
agree
might
with you. If
go into
you
blows. Virat
overall
Kohli and
overall
Ricky Ponting.
yeah. It'll be a marquee series, bro. I agree with everything what you said.
And Rishabh Pant.
That
And I'll also bring in Rishabh
Rishabh
Pant.
Pant for
His
Rishabh Pant,
antics.
that's what
Let's not
his
forget
antics.
the antics. He will really, relish to really rile up McGrath and Brett Lehman, because he will really unsettle their line and length, because with McGrath, that uniform, when he settle, he'll always bring in the consistency in terms of line and length. Brett Lee with his pace in Australia is going to be a bit of a challenge, but Rishabh Pant, his antics and shenanigans will really rile them up, and he will really cause some problems, because let's not
What will
because
be
I'll
the
also because I'll also
yeah,
mention this because I'll also mention this.
yeah.
No Indian team in the past have had that deep of a batting lineup like how this has had, in terms of batting through the all rounders till 1 to 8 or 1 to 7 with wicket keepers, that is because Dhoni had some decent performances in Australia, but not as great as Rishabh Pant. Let's not forget that.
Yes.
And Jadeja as well. So 1 through 7 or 1 through 8, this batting lineup for India has been the deepest as entering a series
I
against
agree.
Australians in Australia. That is a challenge for Australian bowlers.
Yeah.
And Rishabh Pant with the with the antics he's going to bring in.
I'll
Kohli,
tell you
Pant, and
something.
Bumrah will
I'll tell you
really just
something.
have a blast.
Imagine this. Rishabh Pant sledging. If Andrew Simons comes into the playing level, imagine Rishabh Pant and Andrew Simons. That would be crazy level sledge, bro. You seen Harbhajan and you seen the Harbhajan and Andrew Simons. Imagine
Yeah.
Pant and Andrew Simons. Oh my god, it will drive Andrew Simons
Oh my
crazy, bro.
God. But I mean, none will be the big one. The sledging contest between Kohli and Ponting. Oh my God, it's gonna
I
really just that will be the highlight. And bowlers versus bowlers, Kohli versus Ponting. I mean, it's endless of what possible contest we are gonna give in. But overall, throughout this episode, if we see the Border Gavaskar Trophy as a whole, regardless of whether they play in India or in Australia, Ricky Ponting versus Kohli, the contest they'll have, sledging. I don't see a scenario where Ricky Ponting will be the best player in the series, man. In both cases, I think Virat Kohli will be the guy edging it out, man. Simply
It would
because
be
of
the
a
guy. It would be
sheer,
Virat Kohli.
it would be Virat
It would
Kohli
be Virat.
being the best player in both scenarios, in both series, whether it's in India or in Australia. Virat Kohli will be the best player, man. I feel like
Either
overall,
Virat Kohli, overall Virat Kohli, or maybe Matthew Hayden would be the concern. As far as
but
bowling front is concerned, as far as bowling front is concerned,
Bumrah,
Bumrah, man. I mean,
Bumrah or Shami,
Bumrah and McGrath.
and
Bumrah,
Bumrah or
Shami,
Shami, man. Bumrah, Shami, McGrath, yeah,
even
Bumrah, Shami, McGrath, but
Shami and
I think
McGrath.
Bumrah, man.
These are the
Bumrah will, because none of the Australian players in that squad have faced a bowler like Bumrah. He will cause them
exactly,
problems. So I
exactly.
feel like, it's going to be a contest between Bumrah with the Indian bowlers and the Australian bowlers, because like I've mentioned it repeatedly, that Australian team has never had a challenge or an adversity like how India would bring in that intensity. They'll
Exactly.
matching their intensities is going to be mouth watering contest. I think Kohli will be the best player of the series. If there's a series that's going to happen in Australia, Virat Kohli will edge it out, man. I mean, let's face it. Like
Virat Kohli, man.
similar to what
Virat Kohli.
Tendulkar has done over the years, I think Virat Kohli will cause them problems.
But Virat Kohli will provide that entertainment and feel that feistiness, man. That would excite the fans, man. So, with that being saying, I think we can end this video over here. I think
Yeah,
if you look at the overall results wise, I think Prithvi might go with 2-2, India winning. You're going with 2-2. You're going with a draw test match, draw
yeah.
series. I'm going with 3-1 with India. It would be a big save, but I given my
It's
reasons, so I don't have
hypothetical,
to
but
go.
obviously it's not going to happen. The closest that it has happened, I think it was just Kohli in 2011. Even though he was a very young player, he was just came into Test match, so I don't see.
That
But I think
that
with
time,
that,
none of the playing. That time, no. Only Kohli and Ashwin only made their debuts at that same year.
and also most of that core Australian team, that prime Australian team, were all retired, except Ponting
It
and
doesn't
Clark.
make sense. That is why.
So
That's why
I think,
That is why we are making this series, the What If series. The What If series is something that is beautiful because we're comparing the greatest eras, the greatest teams in different eras, and how they compete in a test series. That would be amazing.
yeah,
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of this series.
yes.
So
I think with that being said, I think maybe next videos we'll try to cover IPL as much as we can. Not now because
we'll
we've
cover up as
already
much as
gone a
yeah.
lot. So I think
We've gone a
IPL will
lot.
go in and oh boy, we're going to really have a lot of banters for IPL, bro. That's confirmed. I mean,
Exactly.
obviously we're
So
going to go a bit different in this. Obviously, I'll address this. Obviously, we'll go a bit more
yes,
of a different theme. Maybe at times
yes.
we'll give updates on IPL. Not every episode we're going to do. We're not going to do that, but instead we'll keep this what if series, or maybe some nostalgia, some recap of how the earlier editions of IPL, how it has been.
Mm,
Especially me personally, I've had many people would not know this, but Adrit would know this infamously about me, that I've been watching IPL since the very first match of the IPL I've seen on television, where McCallum just ripped apart. Of course, RCB again. They can't catch a break.
They are save it,
Obviously,
save it, save it,
they'll not
save it,
catch a
save it,
break in
save
this
it,
IPL season, bro.
save it, save it, save
Me,
it. I know, save it. They will not catch a break. Just save it for the next episode. So with that being
yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah.
that
I will save it, but
in a
like I said, I'm just making a point that I've been watching most of the IPL throughout from the first season till the previous edition till last year. So I think we would really go on to recap and just speak on what memories you've had in IPL. You and
yeah,
me and
definitely
maybe
we'll do
Prithvi
that.
would join in the next episode, and he will share his memories in the old seasons of IPL,
Exactly,
how
we'll
it
do that.
was
We'll
back
do
in the
that.
day, and we'll do that. So I think we're going to have some
We'll do that.
exciting episodes in the future. We will still
So
continue with the
since
what if series as well,
we
maybe
will
with
still
IPL teams, comparing IPL teams, the
yes,
old IPL teams
we can
playing
do that.
in this current editions. We'll do a lot of good stuff. So I mean, for now
We'll do a lot
we
of good
haven't
stuff.
decided.
We
We haven't
Yeah,
decided
yeah, we
the
have
whole agendas now, but we will definitely do that in the future. So
exactly.
stay tuned to what is going to happen this IPL season. So it's going to
Yes,
be a different experience. So I would
yes,
kindly request the audience to keep keep waiting, and just keep in the suspense, because you never know what we'll do next for this edition of IPL.
yes.
So
With
let's
that
go
being
into it.
said, exciting content, guys. With the IPL season coming up, we're going to talk a lot about stuff like, as you mentioned, that the old nostalgic memories of different teams versus different teams and all that stuff. With that being said, that this podcast and with the YouTube channel, it would mean a lot. And with that being said, subscribe. See you this podcast and with the YouTube channel, it would mean a lot. And with that
And
being
yeah,
said,
see you in the next
see you.
episode. And before I let
See you
this
in the
go,
next
before I
episode.
go, just
Take
one
care.
thing. ಈ ಸಲ see you in the next episode. And before I let this go, before I go, just one thing. ಈ ಸಲ ಕಪ್